Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with James Farley, Matt Murray and Sean Bell.
So what? What was that? What on earth just happened?
I just wanted to see how you deal with that, and the answer is...
If only we had all said, hello, in unison.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
You bring...
Like, suddenly.
Who are you?
You don't do that suddenly.
It's like you to tell me what I can and cannot do.
Well-known radio producer James Farley is weighing in.
I just wanted to see how professional you guys were, and if you were just going to roll with it and we were going to get going, and instead you went, what? You said our names all at once instead of individually.
Yeah, but how many years have we been doing this now? You can't just suddenly do something like that.
You can't tell me what to do. How long have we been doing this?
Plus,
right? How long have you been doing this, James?
About as long as you
have.
And
how long have I been using? Well, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I had a pretty decent career before this
Joypod doesn't
show
count.
started.
Come on.
It counts. Oh, it counts, boy. Hello and welcome to the podcast. We would like to start by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Thomas, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, and Rob Nesban Piggers. They are the Full Nels crew. If you would like to join them by going Full Nels, then please go to patreon.com/TCGS. All different tiers there. You've got all little bonuses. We're preparing our talks over for what is it, tier 2? Do we call
Preparing's
them that?
A strong
or is
word.
that...
No, we don't call them tier 2.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm too wrapped up in this COVID business, aren't I? We're going to do a new, tougher tier system in December.
The
prices
many
are
more
going
tiers.
up. They're not. That was a joke. That was a joke to try and tie things
Political.
together. Should we get onto the
event show.
feedback?
It's very topical.
Look, I'm very worried about this show. Before we get onto feedback, I'm very worried about this show. I've looked down the list. We've got so much to talk about. That some weeks we go, oh, I don't know how we're going to do a show this week, and then it's 3 hours long. This week, I'm like, I don't know if this one's going to end.
We'll still be recording come Wednesday morning.
I think we should get cracking. Matt, feedback.
Yes, Rex Reese. Firstly, wanted to say this week's pod was great. It's nice to have the team back together, and I'm always impressed that quality never dwindles whenever somebody is away, and you always come back a little bit stronger when you're all reunited. It occurred to me during the Patreon intro that some of the more regular producers have effectively paid for your consoles over the last few months, and meanwhile, I haven't sent you guys a penny. I'm unlikely to be able to afford a sub on Patreon in the near future as I look down the barrel of the COVID unemployment gun, but I always make sure to send you my Prime sub. On behalf of all the scroungers that download every week and listen with a hint of guilt and watch the bonus shows monthly, I wanted to thank all the people that pay up to £34 a month to make the podcast we love as high quality as possible. It would be easy for me to skip 45 seconds and not hear the well thought out pseudonyms like Moomin Biscuit or the full names of the slightly less security savvy donors, but I don't because it's literally the least I could do. I wanted to make time to offer gratitude from us, the fans, to the real people that send their hard-earned money to some chaps who don't know, under no obligation whatsoever, simply because they're bloody good humans. So thank you to you, my fellow fans, and I guess thanks to you for doing what you do best. You might have other talents, but I don't want to give away Sean's secret profession as a dairy farmer spy.
Reese, Jesus Christ.
He's done. I'm going to have to edit that bit out.
Yeah, cheers. I mean, honestly, we all know that everyone's going through hardships at the moment, so no one should feel guilty for not joining us on Patreon or subbing on Twitch. But I love the fact that someone's giving a shout out to the Full Nels crew there. I love that. That is like a really nice email, so thank you so much for sending it in.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. On to Paul. Hey guys, just wanted to throw my 2 cents in regarding the Twitch music issue last week. I hope I can provide somewhat of a counterpoint to what at first glance might seem like the obvious argument of what's the harm, it's good publicity for the music, just leave it up. You are also correct in assuming that 99% of artists and their publishers and labels will be more than happy having their music playing on a stream. I, for one, bloody love a bit of one of my tunes accompanying some of the thrilling scenes from Knack 2. The issue is that historically and currently, what you might call the new media, i.e. online companies, have fought both tooth and nail to avoid paying music licensing royalties. YouTube, Facebook, etc. have put a ton of money, legal muscle and PR into evading paying musicians, all the while encouraging the issue to be framed in the mind of the public as Luddite musicians not understanding the world we live in and expecting money from small-time content creators. The truth is that the platform holders themselves are the ones making absolute bank from this content as a whole, literally billions of dollars of revenue in Twitch's case, and it is they who are responsible for paying a fair bit of for the music played on their service. Increasingly, this has become the norm as YouTube, Facebook and Instagram and many others have all eventually agreed over the years to pay blanket license fees to cover any music that may be included in user-uploaded content. The initial defence of, well, it's not us playing the music, it's our users, so it's not our responsibility, was proven as clear bollocks when they're more than happy to collect the advertising revenue. Twitch is just one of the latest services to try it on, and of course is going to do their best to weasel out of it for as long as possible. That's what successful businesses do. What I'm trying to say is that viewing it as musicians throwing the baby out with the bathwater by reporting copyright infringements is, to me, missing the point. I agree it sucks when algorithms go overboard and act in such a broad sweep, but I guess sometimes it requires the kind of extreme response to get someone like Jeff Bezos and co, who I think we can all agree could find some licensing money down the back of his couch, to take it seriously. As Dave pointed out on the episode, it's well known that even when musicians do get paid royalties these days, the rates are depressingly low, like Spotify, Apple Music. And the rebuttal to that has usually been, well, you can make money from touring instead, I guess. And we all know what 2020 has done to that idea. As you probably guessed by all my whining, I have a vested interest working in the industry as a day job and being a semi-professional musician by night. I even scored a video game this year, a first for me. Anyway, it's a complicated issue, and I don't blame anyone for not seeing the musician side of it, but being told something is going to be good for exposure or publicity, so you should just shut up and consider yourself lucky anyone's listening, is a definite sore spot for anyone working in a creative, ephemeral industry. I can tell you for sure, everyone wants their music on these services. They just also want these companies to pay fairly for it. Love you guys, and that is from Paul.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and yeah, that makes total sense. Whether that's the case for all labels and stuff, who knows? We don't know the background chat, but I think everyone piling in on one narrative or one reason for this happening is not really helpful. We don't know the business side of things, so just cracking in with the arguments about why they're doing it and why they're not is not the right thing to do.
It's interesting the angle he mentions that actually is there like I don't know if this is fair or not, but would Twitch, for example, have an interest in implementing this stuff like way too harshly so that people then essentially blame the music industry for it and the labels, and there's and then Twitch can be like, well, they made us do it, so but I don't know if that's getting into tinfoil hat territory, but it's interesting.
The other thing that I was thinking in the week as well, when I heard that discussion back, was we constantly talk about how businesses, they shut down, like when we talk about Sony, they were like, about the flaps, the company selling the flaps. Matt said, well, companies need to cut down on this stuff because otherwise, they leave themselves open to other legal problems down the line. And I was thinking, do you think there's part of that with the labels as well? Because it's like, we want to sell all our music to movies and TVs and TV shows and stuff like that. They've got to pay for it. If we just let people use it for entertainment on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, doesn't that
exactly?
Yeah,
how much they've got to crack down it. Because if they leave one, then any court case that happens in the future, they'll say we didn't do anything on that one. So,
but then, yeah, as I said, then we're falling into the trap of making up an argument and thinking it's right without knowing what's actually going on behind the scenes. So it's an interesting one.
It's good to get that insight from someone in the industry on both sides, I guess. We can end with 6 Squid Games, a really unboxing euphemism. What absolute delight it was to see Dr. Farley hastily cordon off his garage with the excuse, I'm doing an unboxing. Viewers knew he was giving us the funniest PS5 unboxing experience on the internet, but now I can only imagine what the person on the other side of the door suspected he was actually doing. I hope this expression takes off across toilets, bedrooms, and other secluded quarters around the world. I'm doing an unboxing!
Yeah, well, I mean, I had said that I was going out there to do this, and then, it's just annoying, isn't it?
I love that moment.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
Go and check out our PS5 unboxing video. It's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed editing those ones. Just finding the pieces of where you're each like Matt tries to go into a little bit of detail with the HDMI cable. James goes, it's the usual, and just chucks it to one side. Even though for the first time ever, it isn't the usual. It is a different type of HDMI cable, but that doesn't matter.
But I must have been nervous because I basically that's HDMI 1. I mean, it's HDMI 2.1.
Yeah, you did. yeah, you did.
HDMI 1 is it, Matt?
Is it like a new cable then? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yes, 2.1.
I mean, not in any way
you've
that
got
would
two of these brand new
bother any of
cables,
us,
James.
you know what I mean,
but not in any meaningful way, is it? Unless you've got one of those TVs that.
Yeah, unless you have a TV.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty meaningful way, but okay, fine. That is fine. That one. Okay, cool.
That's it for feedback. Yeah, if you want to leave feedback at any time of the week, doesn't have to be when we post a tweet. Whenever you want, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
Here he comes. It's James Farley in the news. Well, it's coming down the train tracks.
I've been pretty excited about this because there hasn't been a lot of news this week. Because mostly it's been new consoles. Is that why you're excited about it? Yeah, because I thought exactly.
He loves it. He loves the news.
It didn't require a lot of spending time putting it all together, all that kind of thing. It was just like, what sort of offcuts are there from last week that I can sort of like mention things that happened?
Sean, Matt, did you notice today that you were posting links in that was how it going on? Little bits of news. They weren't big bits of news, but little pieces of news you were posting in a WhatsApp group today, and James was just batting them away every time. Not important. No one cares.
Not real news. Next.
So it doesn't matter. C-list game. No one cares about that. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. What you got?
Okay, so obviously the PS5 launched last week. It was last week?
It did?
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah?
But obviously there's been issues.
You're right, James.
It's Monday.
What? Is it? Yeah, it is Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
So,
it's been a long week already, isn't it, James?
Again, I'd love to see that on the normal news. What day is it? What day is it? Is it Monday, is it?
I always feel like this. After the weekend, I always feel like this. And it's just
actually
too hard.
That's a good way. I've always found that's a good way to remember it's a Monday. Actually, if you always feel like that after the weekend, it's probably a Monday.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
I mean, it does.
All I have to do is start saying, "Am I recording the podcast?" It's probably Monday.
Mm-hmm. No, not necessarily, because I said that to Chen this evening. I was like, "I'm going out there to do the podcast," and she says, "What, really?" And I said, "Yeah, it's Monday. It's always Monday." And then she's like, "It's sometimes Tuesday," and so she had me there.
Right.
She was right. Yeah,
you're right. Just as Tuesday.
As another guide, if something happened a few days ago and you're trying to remember if it was last week or not, if it's Monday, probably last week.
I couldn't remember what part of last week. What day was it? It was Thursday, right?
Can I just say, right? Two things. Firstly, James has an iPhone and he has an Apple Watch, right? Both of which give what day it is. Right. Secondly, he's turned 40 now. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. It's going to get worse and worse by the week. He's in his 40s.
Well, no, it's because you get to the stage.
Go on, James.
No, because you get to the stage where it's like some details really don't matter like that much. Like what day of the week?
Day of the week.
It doesn't matter that much, does it? I mean, let's be honest. You've still got to live with it, no matter what day it is. So it's
turning up at the supermarket on a Sunday at 9:00 in the morning, getting really upset.
It is handy to know. What I'm looking forward to with James is when he does that thing that like my mum does. Like he's like, Sean, Dave, Matt. No.
I do that already. I do that already.
I do that constantly. I do that all the time. Because that's one of the constant complaints at home. Actually, is that I get everyone's names wrong all the time. And it's always that thing. It's like it's just too many names. There's just too many floating around.
I love the fact that the PS5 come out last week, and we've got about 50 million games to talk about. We're talking about saying names wrong.
Have you ever said a name wrong?
Call me now. TCS and tcgs.co/deartcgs. Let us know which names you've got wrong and what day you think it is.
What's the funniest? Yeah, what day is it now? Where you are?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, so obviously there was the PS5 launch, and naturally,
last week, was it?
It was actually. It was a Thursday, as it turns out.
It was Thursday.
Thursday the 19th.
He's looked it up.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it was Thursday. Anyway, there was obviously issues, because there always is with a new console launch. I mean, although these ones seem to be probably more serious than the fake vaping Xboxes. that was like obviously nonsense. Whatever. So anyway, so the first thing is that the PS5 had this problem with this queued for download bug. So what this was is that there was like a bug so that if you tried to download games, it would download the PS4 version and the PS5 version of a game, but only the PS4 version actually downloads, and then the PS5 one, if you tried to download it, it's like unplayable and you can't do anything. And there's also, like, the only way to fix it initially was to do a factory reset, but then Sony were like, no, you don't need to do that, just do boot in safe mode and then do a rebuild of the database and that'll fix it.
That's not a phrase you want to hear with a brand new console, is it? Boot it in safe mode, guys.
Yeah.
Make sure you boot it in safe mode.
There's a lot of this, though, because the other problem is there's been problems with the SSD, not the SSD, with the...
external?
Yeah, with like attached hard drives causing crashes in games, and also with rest mode as well, if you've got a USB drive attached. Because there's this whole thing whereby you can't transfer like PS5 games off the SSD onto an external drive. Like, yeah, that's not possible to do. But then people have been like installing PS4 games onto the external drive, and it just doesn't seem to work very well. And basically, the advice at the moment seems to be just don't use an external drive because it doesn't work. It's like there's problems with it until it gets fixed. Like, don't do it. So that's a nasty bug. Then the other problem that there's been.
Episode title. Oh no, it's the PS5 special, isn't it? That's a shame.
That's a nasty
bug.
Nasty bug.
Well,
not the nastiest one going around though.
Yeah, I was going to say too political.
And there's another one there, which is there's what am I talking about? There's PS5 coil wine. That you've knocked me off my course now. It's all going
Do you know
wrong.
What this is, right? I'm only gonna mention this once because I think the idea was we weren't going to draw any attention to it. We are actually trialing having our webcams on while we record this to see if it makes us interrupt each other less. And I feel like it's throwing James off a bit.
It really is, actually. I feel worse because the reason it's throwing me off is because obviously I've got my notes here and I feel weird about reading them with you watching me. It's just...
But we can't see the notes.
I know you can't, but I just feel like I'm being watched. I don't like it.
I mean, you are. You literally are.
I know.
James, one thing, now that we've mentioned the cameras, is that a calendar behind you on the wall there?
Where?
Because that would be hilarious if it was... No, I don't think that. No, it's not a calendar. Right, okay, fine.
So anyway, the other problem the PS5 has got is there's this whole issue about coil wine, which that's...
What is that?
Okay, this is what it is. So coil wine is usually caused by an electrical current going through a power-regulating component like a transformer or inductor, causing its electrical wiring to vibrate at a variable frequency. This happens with most electrical devices, but is usually inaudible to humans. So anyway,
have you remembered all that? Well done. That was incredible.
Yeah, that sounds very natural. It wasn't like you reading it at all.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd better like just copy down something because I knew you'd ask me what it was, and I thought it's just safer to just copy whatever was on Wikipedia off it.
For an idiot like me, what does that mean? What's making the noise?
Okay, so there's basically something inside which is vibrating, and then that is causing like a slight, like it's causing a whine, which is like you can hear it. I mean, it's different. Some people get it really badly, other people not so badly. It's There's
also, did you see the stuff about the loose stickers right next to the fan?
Yeah. This is a separate thing.
That's great.
That was like a thing where, there was a loose sticker that was getting in the fan and then it was making a terrible noise.
How gutted would you be if, like, when you were designing that console, you went, right, the PS4 was ridiculously noisy, everyone hated the noise, it became a big issue, everyone, you started a game that sounded like a jet engine. Our main focus this time is make it quiet. So they made this huge monstrosity of a console and said, look, it's ugly, sure, but it's quiet. Wicked. It gets out there and there's a loose sticker in the thing just making this horrible noise. You'd be furious, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
After all that,
such a shame.
So the sticker ruining everything.
The thing with the coil wine is that, like, as this article that I copied said, it's like there are like most computers have this actually. Like it's like most desktop computers have it as well, and laptops and stuff. It's just that usually it's like far away, or the case deadens the sound, so you just don't hear it. From from going on. But with this, for some reason, it is obviously being heard. Nobody's really sure if this is like a design flaw or if it's something that can be fixed, over time or whatever it is. And different people are reporting different levels of it, or if they've got it at all. I mean, I've got mine. Mine makes noise, but it sounds to me more like fan noise rather than like a whine. It's like
applaud and stuff, applauding.
Yeah. Mostly.
Mine makes noise, but it's just like a. which is fine.
Did you play PT? Did you have PT on at the time?
I had that another tab actually. It's probably that.
I was chatting to John about this the other day, right? You see the problems that we've had with the Xbox. We were talking about them last week, especially with some of the main features like quick resume and stuff.
Mm.
And now you're hearing this stuff about the PS4. Like,
PS5.
Part of me thinks PS5. Part of me thinks that they should have rang each other up and said, "Look, should we just
a little bit, 6 months?
Let's just no, a year. Let's just get out of the global pandemic that we struggled through to get these to market." But you know what? It's too late now. It's too late.
You can't put this PS5 back in the box. I mean, you can.
James can't. He ripped it.
It's true. James in pieces behind me, but it's ripped it to pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that's going on, and people are still complaining about that. But I guess we'll find out if it's like a really widespread thing. We're certainly going to
go into the PS5 in a little bit more detail after the news. Yeah.
Okay. Apple have come out now and are halving App Store fees for the vast majority of developers. So what
what you know what I'm going to ask?
What?
Is Epic going to be one of them? Because I don't think
that's the thing. This is what I'm getting to. So what they've done is they've created this thing called the App Store Small Business Program that will come into effect from the 1st of January. And if developers are earning less than $1 million $1 million a year, then you'll be eligible for it, and your fees will be reduced from 30% to 15%. And
they're calling it the No Epics scheme.
Basically, yeah.
That's basically for any developer that doesn't have a game called Fortnite, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because there's this like app analytics firm called Sensor Tower, and they estimate that this change will cover 98% of companies that pay Apple a commission.
That's great.
It's like the vast majority of that. But then, so Epic obviously are not particularly happy about this. The main reason being is because they've been sort of banging on about how the reason that they've What's wrong with that?
It's just fun. Like, it's bad, all right. Okay, yeah, there's this big legal thing going on. There's a moral issue. Is it, right or wrong what they're doing, how much they're charging, so. But this really does feel like, and I'm sure Epic felt this way, this really does feel like a massive fuck you to them. Like, we're going to lower the price, lower the commission on 98% of developers on our platform, and we know you're not one of them.
And it's also because Epic have been going on about how they were championing like smaller developers with this lawsuit.
This has been the whole thing.
Well, surely we're not doing this for us. Then.
Doing it for you guys.
Yeah.
And the whole developer community. We're good. We're nice. It's a moral.
What do you mean we're not benefiting?
Crusade.
I mean, do you want to hear what Tim Sweeney has said about this? So he responded. He said, "We're not fighting for a lower commission. Epic is fighting for fair competition among mobile platform companies, stores and payment processors. If iOS were open to competing payments and stores, we'd happily return, even if Apple's own payment service still charged 30%. Apple's 30% commission is not wrongful, it's just a bad deal. What is wrongful is Apple... Is that a word like that? I don't think it is. What is wrongful is Apple...
Wrongful?
Yeah, it does. In that context, it doesn't sound right. Is Apple blocking competing stores and payment processors to ensure that good deals can't be offered to developers at all? I mean, so basically they're saying... It's not that, it's just we want to be able to put the Epic Game Store on iOS, and they won't let us, and it's not fair. And the court case is going to happen in May 2021, so that's the...
Is it?
Can't wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't wait.
All right.
Yeah, so that's pretty funny. There we go.
I mean, that's ultimately really good for 98% of the developers. That's brilliant.
Yeah, to be fair, that is good news for a lot of smaller developers. So
I can't believe James managed to editorialise by reading out a quote in a certain way, in a certain style. That was genius. Well done.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, Microsoft suggests higher AAA price point is warranted. So this is Tim Stewart from Microsoft, and he was asked whether Microsoft was going to raise the price of its first-party games following in the footsteps of third-party AAA publishers who have already done so. So he wouldn't talk about Microsoft's own pricing, because this is the weird thing in it, because you always see nowadays, I just think it's all on Game Pass. Like, what's I was gonna say, who cares? But they do still sell these games, like I mean, individually. Yeah, they still sell them individually.
You actually want to own any of them forever?
Yeah,
that is an option.
And what's the deal with these people buying games? What's the deal?
Bunch of mugs.
So anyway, then he went on to say, he said, if they can drive a premium price point or a higher price point, I think that's warranted. Prices have not gone up for a couple of generations now, so it's not unheard of to see things like this going on. Yeah, so basically he's saying, they're going to be fine, I think, with putting the prices up. That's
but surely I would say the reason that it has been relatively static for a couple of generations now is because every time the new generation comes out, they push it a bit, and then people haven't got that much money, so it's just a case of settling back into what the market will bear.
Yeah,
and is it not just going to be that again? Except probably even more severe because people are going to have even less cash for the next while. So I don't know. Like, it's not that it isn't warranted. I just don't think people are going to be that willing to pay it, and I think it's just going to settle back to how it's always been.
I think
maybe
you're totally
not.
Right. I think it's definitely warranted, but I don't think they're going to pay it. But also, would they not have done it like now at the start of a generation? I mean, I guess they got no games to do it on there. But
as we all know, the Xbox doesn't have any next generation games, does it? So we can.
It's pretty weird in a couple of years' time if they suddenly say, our game's now £70.
Yeah,
but
that'd be tough. But yeah, like obviously, development costs have risen for you AAA stuff. So as you say, it's not that it isn't warranted. I just don't think people have that much money.
But also, they found other ways to monetize this anyway, like this generation. So there is that. It's the thing. Okay. The other bit is that we've got James Bond 007 game is in the works from IO Interactive, and so they announced Project 007 in partnership with Eon Productions and MGM, and it's going to be an original Bond story.
I'm well up for this.
Can this just be? I mean, we've now seen that if you have a licensed game and bring out a good game of it, make a good card of it, it sells really well. I really hope, because I don't want them to try and do GoldenEye. The moment's past now.
Please don't do that.
Don't worry. I don't see them making a. Well, maybe it's first person, but I see it more. I see it basically. I think Hitman and a 007 skin with more crazy.
Just an actual when you think espionage action game. Yeah. Like there haven't been
you
many.
Think that James Bond has to offer the video game world is quite a lot. Like the gadgets and the cars,
sexism,
women.
That was always one of the things that I always felt was a bit of a shame with what happened with Perfect Dark and how that kind of ended. Like that series seems to be kind of dead and buried. But that was one of the things that Rare did that I thought was really good, like with GoldenEye and with Perfect Dark. Like there was all the gadgets and stuff like that. You don't really see that much, like in first-person shooters. That's not where where games went.
Well, you do in multiplayer games. It's full of it at the moment. The gadget stuff in multiplayer games.
True.
Bringing that to a first-person, like a single-player game, I think could be pretty cool.
Although this will also have multiplayer as well, because they were hiring like multiplayer people, and the Twitter account said that players will earn their 00 status as part of the story, and apparently it's going to be like it's going to be like an Origin game. Is what this is,
Awful.
which they've not done that before for a James Bond game. That's never happened before. So
that sounds good.
Wait,
it reminds
what do you
me
mean? They've not gone to pre James Bond level.
Yeah, there's never been a game that's done that. Like that's been like a.
Has there been a film that's done that? I don't think there's been a film.
Yeah,
that's done that.
I mean, Casino Royale did that.
Yeah, was
Did it?
But but you don't see
his first.
Yes, it's the first adventure in it. It's
okay.
But
that's so good.
Reminds me of. Did you ever play the Bourne Identity game?
Did not.
No.
It's shite. Don't bother. But
Cool.
I remember reading once that who played him? Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Was it Matt Damon? Yeah, it was Matt Damon, wasn't it? Apparently. So he wasn't in the game, famously. It was it's the same character, but it was different. It wasn't his likeness. And apparently he went to see it, and he was just like...
Mott D1. That's not title.
And he was just like, oh, is it just fighting people then? And they sort of went, oh, yeah. And he's like, well, no, I'm not putting my face in it, and that's bollocks. And he's like, I thought it was going to be an actual game about being a spy and doing cool spy stuff, and that's not just battering people and driving cars, although that is a very fun
A large percentage of the films, though.
It's a great bit. Yeah.
Did the development team say, "Look, Matt, if you want us to do that, increase the budget. Like, give us some money." Yeah. So that we can increase the budget. No, I want it to be spies, and I want this to happen. I want this to happen. Right, you've just described $100 million worth of development there, Matt. You all right with that? Are you going to put up that money, or are you going to put your face this fucking fighting game? You know what I mean? Get over yourself, Matt.
But yeah,
the point is, like, because obviously IO's pedigree, I think they can do it. I think it'll be really cool. So, yeah.
All right, well, you put your money to it then, Sean.
I will. I'll give them a tenner. Kickstarter.com. I'll buy a T-shirt.
He won't. He says that on the show, but like after the show, he'll go, I'll give him a 10, I ain't got it.
Oh, I forgot when the money was going to go out and then I hadn't been paid and, never mind. That's what happened with Shenmue 3. Well, dodged a bullet there.
Yep, you certainly did.
So with this announcement, obviously there was a teaser trailer which was basically CGI, the classic sort of, 007 thing, and that was it. So, do you think this really was just about recruitment? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. It'd be if it's one of those where they're going to have to, like, say, if they're recruiting like multiplayer staff and a bunch of other things, then it's obviously people will spot that and they'll report on it.
Yeah.
So maybe they just figured it was better to get out in front of it. I mean, I don't think anyone would have guessed it was a fucking James Bond game, but
yeah. I guess it's either that or they did this rather than it leaking. But also, this feels like a come work for us. But yeah, no, I mean. IO Interactive is like a perfect studio to do a Bond game, so I'm really excited about what this could be.
Yeah, Who knows? Same.
Okay, all right. There's been an Animal Crossing winter update. I mean,
yes, there has.
I'm still playing this. Most of my family are still playing this. Has anybody else gone back to this?
I haven't. Not yet. I mean, so the winter update is it snowy now?
No, not yet.
Okay, good, because I was going to be gutted that I'd missed autumn. I kept meaning to check that out. But no, I haven't actually been back.
It's been autumn for ages.
Yeah,
the snow stuff. I'll jump in when it's snowy and I can make Christmas stuff. I'm well up for that.
Yeah.
Toy day stuff.
Because that's okay. So they basically announced a bunch of events. So there's Turkey Day is coming on November 26th, and this is where
not very inclusive, but okay.
Yeah, well, Franklin's going to turn up, and you can cook dishes with him by collecting ingredients. And
very inclusive. What's your problem with that, Sean?
Calling it Turkey Day? Not everyone has turkey at Thanksgiving, and not even not even talking about vegetarians and vegans. A lot of people just don't.
Well, not everyone has Christmas, but if Christmas weren't in it, you'd fucking shit a brick, wouldn't you?
Christmas isn't in it. It's Toy Day, mate.
Yeah, I know, but it's not Turkey Day either. It's Thanksgiving, isn't it?
I know. I'm just saying.
Wind your neck in.
I'm just saying. Not everyone has a turkey on Thanksgiving, but everyone does get toys at Christmas.
Not everyone, Sean.
Yeah, but also, like you said, not everyone has Thanksgiving, do they? This is ridiculous. That's what I thought you were going to complain about.
There is. I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we're not equipped to have. Is that there's a lot of people this year, especially, who've been like, do you know what? Thanksgiving is a load of shit.
James and I have a separate WhatsApp group where we try and guess what Sean's going to complain about this week.
And
James, you get 10 points for that. You get 10 points for that one.
I saw the video for this and I was like, energy, look, it's another Animal Crossing video, expecting to be, this is pathetic. But I thought, this looked good actually. I think this had enough for me to go back in and see what it's like. Yeah, this is definitely the best I've seen in ages.
It's the same as all the other ones, isn't it? It's just a theme that we like.
Yeah, there's snow in this one.
So you got Toy Day on December 24th, where Jingle's going to show up, and there's going to be like tree decorations, all that kind of stuff. There's also they've already added like new reactions, including sitting. You can sit now on the floor, which is
what a
nice.
Christmas present. You can sit down for the first time in your life.
Yeah. There's also
an island.
Yeah, there's the new hairstyles, all that kind of stuff, but also the home storage has been expanded to like 2,400 slots as well, so you can store more stuff. But you have to pay 500,000 bells though to get that. It's not just
nothing. I'll take out my 28 million. Don't want to touch the socks.
Whenever they're like, we've added new hairstyles, and I'm just like, I've already got basically bald.
No, but Sean, now bald is in the game, Sean.
Oh, it's actual bald.
Yeah, added bald.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
All the way.
See, I don't do that. I go for aspirational hair. I'm still clinging on.
You're role playing.
We know from your player in FIFA. Blue locks.
It's gonna come back one day. There's gonna be a cure.
I'm fingers crossed, James. I'm all over that if that happens. James, so you play this every single day. What What are you doing every day in this game?
Well, no, not every day. Maybe every couple of days I play usually. And
what are you doing in it?
What are you doing in that game?
See, I'm still doing my house because I never actually did that. I spent so much time.
Oh my God,
doing
James.
the island.
I did that in lockdown 1.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm still building that, but it's going fine.
What disappointment of the game?
Yeah. No, the whole house is built. I've just still got to do all the decorations.
Are you still in a tent?
No, come on.
I just
that little
got my
portable radio
room,
and the
boys.
Nintendo Switch. Go on then, James. Let's move on.
Okay, so last story is that GeForce Now has come to iOS, but the really big news is that Google Stadia is coming soon to this. So apparently public testing...
Wait, hang on, what? To iOS or to GeForce Now? What? No.
To iOS. It's coming to iOS.
Right,
yeah. So GeForce Now is coming to iOS, and then Google Stadia is coming soon to iOS as well. So they're going to begin public testing in a couple of weeks, and it's like all the other ones. It's going to use the web app to bypass, Apple's App Store sort of thing. And apparently, according to GeForce, they said this does create additional latency doing it through Safari, but only like a little bit. It's not like ridiculous, like sort of difference.
I like how technical that is.
Yeah,
just sort of a little bit. Don't worry about it. Stop moaning. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. So anyway, then also Google have announced that if you pre-order Cyberpunk 2077 Stadia, you get a free Stadia Premium Edition. Is it Premier Edition? That's the one.
Whatever. It is.
Premier. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get one of those.
I mean, you guys know this already. I was briefly considering this.
Why?
Because I'm my stupid, largely unfounded anxieties about what platform to play Cyberpunk on. This just seemed like a very clear, hey, it might not matter if I just did this instead. Just get the Stadia version, and then that's that. It'll definitely work. It will definitely.
Why
look
wouldn't you
good.
just get the S version? I don't get it.
Because the whole pissing, because they're not even said when the next gen upgrade is coming for the Series S and X.
Just play the current gen upgrade.
What if it's shit, Dave? What if I get a compromised version?
I've got a prediction. I've got a prediction that game is going to be a total mess when it launches in December.
Right. Yeah. Regardless of where you play it,
it's going to be a mess regardless of where you're playing it.
I mean, it hasn't helped. Obviously, they put that video out with here's the One X and Series X footage.
Yeah.
And it's and then ended it with, which just goes to show you'll have a great experience no matter where you play it. And I'm like, hang on, no, there's a considerable piece of this puzzle missing. So just for a bit, I was like, yeah, do you know what? It's a nice controller. I'll probably use the Chromecast anyway because I'm a bit sick of my Fire Stick. But then after a bit, I was just like, no, it's just going to be more shit, more cables. I don't need. Fuck it.
I was kind of hoping you were going to do this, Sean. Because
you
I was going to talk about it every week.
It's less cables. It's less cables. It's just a Chromecast on the back of the TV and a wireless pad.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's another HDMI port I've got. I mean, I don't think I've got any left at this point.
Take out the Fire Stick. Okay, put that in the bin.
Put it this way. Put this way.
It as well, the Chromecast. So it's fucking around.
You buy that on your Xbox. Yeah. You're probably going to be able to play that in 10 years' time. You buy it on Stadia. I'd be surprised if you could play that in 1 year's time.
Yeah. No, that's a valid point.
So that's happening.
I'm not going to do it, but it's a good deal, to be fair. But still not enough, is it?
Well, there's been other stuff as well, because apparently, Destiny 2 New Light is going to be free to all Stadia players as of November 19th, so that's already happened. But then also, Hitman 3 is coming to it, and it's going to be the first game that supports the state share thing, where players can the
thing they said we'd have 2 years ago.
Yeah, the thing where you're watching it on YouTube and then you can click, I want to play that, and then it will happen. And so that's the first game that's going to support that.
Stadia really been going for 2 years?
No. I plucked that out of thin air.
No, it's 1 year. And it was
about 1 year. I've been challenged on that, and now I'm regretting it instantly.
They're making great leaps because they added messaging last week as well, so players could talk to each other. So that's
next gen features.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the end of the news. I've got nothing else this week. That's it.
Okay. Well, before we get onto what you've been playing, I can't believe we're flying. We're flying at the moment, but I've got a feeling that this is going to go on for a while. Got lots of games to talk about, but before we get to that, Matt, James, you received a PS5.
Between us, yeah.
Just to clarify, we received it because we bought it.
Yeah, it sounds like you just gifted one.
You received something from Sony, didn't you? Just
listen. If you if you ever hear me say that we've got a console, we definitely haven't received it from a company. That has not been happening. James, come on. What are your first thoughts on the PlayStation 5? Let's talk about the games later, but I want to hear about the pad. I want to hear about the console. How's it look? How's it
about like coil
running? What was the setup like? Come on.
See, the setup's fine. I mean, it is big, but as I said on my unboxing video,
big setup.
It's not like as big as people. You know, like people like saying like it's as big as like a house and stuff like that. It's not that bad.
I mean, they were joking.
Yeah,
they
wasn't taking that literally.
I know, but there's
as big as my house. This is bullshit.
No, but they were like, I mean, I'd say it's as big as like a large cat. It's like it's big, but it's not like
a tiger.
No, like a large domestic cat.
Like a mountain lion.
So I got my Series X out on show. Like when I was in my last place, I've recently moved. When I was in my last place, it was on its side and it was in a TV unit, and now it is out on display on a shelf, essentially. And I was looking at that today and thinking that is a big console. Actually, you know, the Series X looks big on. Like I've got it standing up, and I think actually that looks pretty big. To think the PS5 is bigger, James, I don't know how you can say it's not that big. Actually,
no, it depends. It depends where you put it, because like I've got it horizontal, like in like a stand.
What? Sean's having a meltdown. Go on.
No, it just.
He's just got a dirty mind, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's just like everything is like.
It's not that it's that big. It depends where you.
Everything's a sex joke for Sean. It's it's terrible. Anyway,
life's just
an endless romp for me.
Yeah.
So I carry on.
So if you put it in the loft, it's fine.
Well, you see, initially I tried it vertically, and it wasn't that. It was. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was too big. Like when I put it.
Did you try it standing up?
I've
heard it's always better standing up, just more tricky.
When I put it up vertically, it wasn't that good. It really wasn't that good at all. It was. I mean, it looked ridiculous, and it looked like and it looked like it could fall over or whatever. It wasn't very good.
Did you film it?
So anyway,
you did film it. Yeah.
I decided to place it vertically instead, and I put it in the stand, and it looks absolutely fine. Actually, it's really absolutely fine. But
Matt, is he talking bollocks? Because I think he's the only one I've ever heard say, actually, it's not that big. It's fine.
No, it is big. I mean, I'm every time I look at it, I'm like, it is massive. Obviously, it's not the size of a house, but it's big. It's definitely big. Yeah, it makes my Series X look pretty dinky, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with it downstairs on the 4K TV, and my eyes would just constantly like move down to see this thing in front of me, and I'm kind of fascinated. It's definitely growing on me as a design.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of audacious. It's just like, why is it so massive? I mean, I guess we know, for all the components inside and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of amazing to see in real life, because it is just really, really big. But the design is definitely growing on me for sure.
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with the design is absolutely not growing on me. I mean, I'd be quite happy if it looked different. It's just that
I will say, James, I think it looks way better vertically than horizontally. I think horizontally with like that curve, it's just I don't like that. But I think vertically, I like it. Yeah.
I will say I saw a few videos of the digital edition, and I thought, okay, that just looks way better. It looks way better, right? But then, as I said, I mean, that's the one John got, and he turned around and said, "But now I have to pay £70 for all the games." It's like I'm just thinking, why did I do this? Why did I do it? I'd rather a slightly uglier console where I can. It must have killed him when you said you paid, what was it, £45 for Sackboy?
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because me and Matt in the group that we had, we were talking about it. We were like. We were showing like we got these games like on disc, and he was like, "Oh, what have you bought disc for? Like, what's the point of that?" And I was like, "Yeah, what if I quit?"
Yeah, we were saying about 150 quid between us.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, setting it up, you plug it in, you turn it on. How was the setup?
The setup was brilliant. I mean, the setup was very similar to the Xbox, I would say, in the sense that you can use like you can use the mobile app as well. So you can just like scan.
I didn't do that.
I was going to say that's not what I saw on.
Stream. I didn't do it. Mostly because I didn't put my Wi-Fi in straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I'd done that, it might have suggested, because I thought, I heard, brilliant, get the app ready, because you can do it all through the app. I was like, here we go. The Xbox setup was amazing with the app. It was so easy, so quick. I was like, I'll do it with this. And I was streaming. I was quite flustered because everything was going on, and I was panicking probably. So I didn't put my Wi-Fi in straight away. But then when I did, I was still like, okay, cool. Where's the app thing? And it never really happened. So I think my experience of setting up was vastly different. I was like, God, this feels really laborious, feels really slow. It feels really old compared to what I was doing with the Xbox, where it's just the app. But I think
it's really
done
weird.
It again, use the app. I guess I think probably because I didn't put the Wi-Fi in early enough or something, and didn't sign to PlayStation Plus. I think that's probably why. But
see, all it was it just comes up on the screen. It says, "Do you want to sign in with user ID and all that kind of thing, or do you want to just use the app?" And then you just open the app and then just click, "I want to sign into a PS5," and then it just does it. Everything's done. It was but that was absolutely fine. And then the interface. I mean, there's things about this machine that I like and things I don't like so much. The user interface I do really like. It's very minimal and generally very straightforward. And the thing do you don't think so?
I'm not so sure myself.
Really?
I'm still like so even now I'm like, okay, do I hold down or do I press? So it's different. Like now, when you press the PlayStation button once, this sort of a control center menu, they're calling it, comes up where you have things like switching games, notifications, power, all that sort of stuff. But you have to hold down the PlayStation button to get to the cross media bar. So I'm still kind of in the same like PS4 mindset of like press it once, I'll know, and I've got to hold it down. And also, if you're in a game and you press the PlayStation button, it brings up that control center at the bottom, but also there's like another menu of cards above that. And I'm still kind of getting my head around it. I know it's not that complicated. I'm just still getting my head out of the hold down for PS4 to go to the menu.
Is that
thing.
the sort of thing you're going to get totally used to in a couple of weeks?
It's one of those things where they've changed. Yeah, it's like the muscle memory is no good like for this, because there's there's somebody like John just shared this article that The Verge has written that's like 1,000 words on why it's difficult to switch off a PlayStation 5, and it's like, which is ridiculous because it's not. It's just that it's not the same as it was before.
It's definitely more button presses though. Like before, on the PS4, I had it set up so power was one of like the first settings you had when you held down the button, and now we go like you press it once and scroll right to the end, hit the power, then select. I mean, it's obviously it's not hard, but it's more button presses, whatever.
See, and that's the thing that's daft about that bar, because so you've got like your home screen, which has got like all like just basically a list of icons across the top of what games you can play. I like that. It's just very simple. Just say I want to play this one, I want to play that one, or whatever. But then if you want to actually get into options, or if you want to do anything, you press the PlayStation button once, and then it will bring up this like little sort of like dashboard kind of thing that comes up. A bit like, when you press the guide. It's really similar to pressing the guide on Xbox. But the difference is, and this is the thing that I really is much better on Xbox, is you can't really customize this guide, like in the sense that you can choose which things you want displayed, but you can't like choose the order, like where they're going to be. So to make this easier, I don't know why they don't just let you change the order so that you could move
I'm sure
the power
that will come surely
to
in
the
a
far left or something like that.
You say that, but
they
one
won't.
problem that I had with the PS4
they will surely.
They didn't update the
No, they
UI
did nothing.
much,
That's my main concern with this, is that I don't think this is going to change a lot, because Sony tend to look at the PlayStation app that like came out last time. It came out at the start of the PS4 and never changed, like hardly at all, like throughout the entire of that generation. And that is something that Microsoft do significantly better than Sony do, like in the sense that they do continuously update things. I mean, sometimes they break stuff and things get worse, but then they do change stuff quite a lot. Whereas, Sony
on
never
the
really do that.
PS4, you were able to change the order of what buttons you had when you held down, because I changed it so power was the first thing you see. So, and that's not changing the OS. That's not like redefining what it is. That's literally like giving us an option to change the order of those same 6 or 7 things. So that's a bit annoying. I think the OS looks nice, but I'm finding myself, I think it's like menus within menus within menus. I mean, again, that's probably just me getting used to it. Unlike the Xbox, where I knew where things were.
That is also definitely another thing, because before we came online just like a minute ago, Matt and I were trying out the party stuff. Like with the...
I'm fascinated by this. Yeah, how does it work online?
Well, okay, the thing is, is it is better. It's definitely better than it was on PlayStation, on PS4.
So on PS4, what you had to do was you went and you started a party, and it gave you options for starting a party. Then you launched the party. Then you invited everyone individually, and quite rightly, PS4 owners, when we were moaning about that a few weeks ago, a few PS4 users got in touch and said, it's fine, I don't see what the problem is. And I'm saying, well, when you're used to doing it on Xbox, where you go to your friends list, you tap their name and say invite to party, and you're just in the party, there's no separate menu, you never have to come out of the game, it's all done on that little sidebar, and you don't have to set up a party before inviting people, it just does it for you, and that's so much better. So what how has it been made better this time around?
Well, this works the same way, because you just press, all you do is you press PlayStation, and then you go to like the friends list like tab. It's called like is it called Game Central or something they call it now?
Gamer Base? Game
Base or something like that. And then you just choose the person, click them, and then just click start party or whatever with them, and then it just begins. And then then you get a pop up on your screen, and then you just press the PlayStation button, and then you can join like straight away. You haven't got to go through all the menu systems and all that kind of thing. But there's other stuff which is not so good. And so the thing that me and Matt tried, which was honestly incredibly impressive, was the like share screen stuff. And
that looks great.
We were playing like Astrobot at the same time, and we were like competing with each other like on the time trials. And so I had like Matt in one part of my screen, like watching him doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. I can hear his game,
brilliant.
He can hear mine, all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. It's like, I mean,
that turns a single player game, what is traditionally a single player game, into a multiplayer game. I mean, like. You know, I've tried the multiplayer in Tetris Effect, and I wasn't a massive fan. But knowing that I could try, sprint mode or something with someone at the same time, like, and watch their screen while I'm doing it is, that sounds so good.
It's everything we've wanted and asked for years, and just the fact that it's so quick. I went to like Game Base, and I was just touching on that briefly. Is that it feels like it is game based, right? I'm not.
I think it's called. I can't remember.
That list of like people, it feels more like almost like WhatsApp groups. Like the people you've talked to in the past are all in a big list.
Yeah.
So if you play the same amount of people every time, we literally scroll down, bang, go. Like everyone's in the party. You just join the party rather than having to invite people. Right. But yeah, it's really quick. I mean, I went to like Game Base, selected James, selected party, and then it's like share gameplay. And then, like, it came up on your screen really, really quickly, didn't it, James?
Yeah. I mean, Matt's stream came to me much faster than mine went to him, probably because his upload is much better than mine is. But then once it had actually started playing, it was fine. Like, it's not like 4K like quality video, but it's good enough that you can really see what's going on.
Does it? It's it doesn't need to be. I mean, for us, as I said, it's like when we're playing pro clubs or something on FIFA. And one of our mates joins, one of our mates joins the party while the game's going on, just for them to be able to press a button and watch that while we're playing and while they're waiting, just seems like
that's exactly
such a good thing.
Yeah, the example I said to James, like, no longer do I have to, like, okay, we're all in the game, I guess I'll just wait around until you finish the match. I mean, it's only you have
to do that because we all play on Xbox, so that's the big problem. I really hope Xbox adds this.
I'm sure they will, although the only thing is,
you don't know if they've got the technology. Sony have had this technology for ages, right? We've been able to do screen sharing on PS4 for a while.
Yeah.
But it was just not that convenient. What they've done is they've taken that technology and made it instantly convenient.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to do. So whether Microsoft's been working on sort of an alternative in the meantime, I think that could be a long time coming, even if on these consoles. Like, it might not even make these consoles because it's not. I wouldn't have thought that was an easy thing to do.
The tech, though, haven't they? Because obviously you can stream your Xbox to other devices and what have you. So
locally, but can you just beam it to another Xbox? I don't think you can.
See, they had a lot of this sort of stuff with Mixer. Like they've definitely got things like this that they can do. It's just they've not done it, have they? And this is the other thing, because one of the other things that I do really think is significantly better on this than on Xbox still is like broadcast options as well. Because for this, if I want to stream a game, I press the home button. There's a tab that just says broadcast. You click it, and then it says, do you want to broadcast to Twitch or YouTube? And then it's just, and then you say, okay, I want to do to Twitch. It then just says, okay, what's the title? And then you just click stream, and then it just immediately starts the stream. And it's
Sony have always been better at that. Like, I say always. I mean, their last console was way better than the Xbox, and part of me was hoping it was going to be better on these new Xbox consoles, but it's not. The way you stream on their Xbox is it's exactly the same thing. It's crap. The reason James and I had an argument about this on Twitter, and the reason I had an argument about it is that people were going, Microsoft need to fix this, and I don't like. My argument was, no, that's the wrong way of going about it. Like, why would Microsoft fix this? Why?
Yeah, but then by the same logic, you could say the same thing about friends lists, like with like with the way that Sony were doing like friends lists and stuff. Like, they didn't need to change that, but they did.
No, hold on. No, that's a system that a large portion of their users use, and it's a way to use their service. You're asking Microsoft to implement something at a system level so that they can use it on a third-party service.
Yeah, but again, Sony don't have a problem doing that, do they? Like Twitch, they don't own Twitch, they don't own YouTube.
I know that, but what I'm saying is that Microsoft are probably looking at how many people are using it, right? And the benefit to Microsoft, I'm thinking, is it worth putting the time and money into getting this working on our console?
Yeah, but it is. I know, but it is like a feature thing. It's something that this console, that the Xbox doesn't do well at all.
Absolutely,
it's something that it does.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that, and I would love Microsoft to work on it. All I'm saying is that there must be a reason why they haven't.
Well, I think the reason they haven't is because it's Twitch, and because they don't want to cede more control to Amazon. I guess it's something.
They don't want to work on something that another company is going to benefit.
It benefits
from.
Amazon. It doesn't benefit Microsoft, does it? Which is why that's why Mixer is the evidence of that. Why that existed. And
precisely, yeah. So unfortunately,
So it's kind of petty of them to then go, well, we're not going to, we're going to kill our solution, but we're also not really going to let you use anyone else's.
That's what I'm saying. Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're doing it to get back at Twitch. I think they're doing it and thinking, why are we doing this so that people can stream from their Xbox to about 1 or 2 viewers, right? Whereas the big streamers, they've got their streaming set up.
Yeah,
they're all doing it through PC.
Yeah, but not everyone's doing that though. And then also,
of course not.
But it is also, it's good. It's advertising as well, though, isn't it? That's the other reason why you want people to stream your stuff.
If you're sitting there, right, you work for Microsoft, and you're sitting there and you're looking at the numbers and saying this percentage of our audience is streaming to Twitch from our console, and this is the average viewers they're getting. I bet it's not big.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's not.
I bet it's not big. So in terms of advertising, like that's pretty much out the window. I totally agree with you. It is terrible on the Xbox. I would love them to do it. I'm frustrated at how hard it is to stream from an Xbox onto Twitch in a decent quality.
I'm really shocked because they haven't made big updates.
It's not just Microsoft's fault either, though. It's also Twitch's fault, because Twitch's app is so bad. It's like such a terrible
Twitch's app is bad, right? Twitch's app is bad. But why are you shocked, Matt? That's the reaction that I don't understand.
Because I kind of thought, okay, like new generation, let's at least update some of these core apps that people enjoy using.
Again, that's time, money, and development into something that they're not getting any benefit out of.
Well, the benefit is that the users are happy.
Yeah,
the users are happy. It's a better experience for them. A lot of people probably might not because they're like, it's just shit.
But again,
or
like Dave's saying, what percentage of the users is that who used it, and for the benefit of how many viewers?
I mean, it's killing us because we, I mean, it's frustrating us because we like streaming. We've got a bit of an audience, and it would be great to turn the Xbox or PlayStation on. Well, the PlayStation, you can do this. It'd be great if you could turn the Xbox on and stream from it in a decent quality.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us, but when you're looking at it from their point of view and they're thinking, I don't think the numbers add up. That's the only reason why I think they're not doing this. And it's frustrating as hell. And you're absolutely right, James. It's shit on Xbox. And I wish they improved it. What I'm saying is that I can't see that happening in the near future.
I think it will. And I think that what's going on at the moment is they're still not sure what they're doing after what happened with Mixer. And they're still not sure what sort of direction they're going to go with this. Because because when they binned Mixer, they then tried to move everybody onto Facebook Gaming, didn't they? They said, like, we've done a deal with Facebook Gaming, and then everyone was like, hang on, is that now going to be the default on Xbox? And they're like, no, because they know that would be a terrible idea, and that nobody would want to do that. But I think they're still trying to figure out, how they're going to do this.
Well, you know what? If they do improve it, then I'll be very happy. I find it hard to sit there and go, Microsoft need to do this. What are they doing? Because I just think they probably know something that we don't.
Yeah,
They've looked at the numbers.
I'm sure they do, but it's
still
shit for us. That's the thing. It's still crap.
It's shit for me. Yes. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got no interest in buying a proper stream setup. Yet I would like to, stream from my Xbox once in a while, like I did with the PlayStation. And not having that option sucks. So,
I mean, you do have the option. It's
I was going to say, you did do a test stream, didn't you?
I did a test stream. And to be fair, it was dead simple. I opened up the Twitch app, hit play, light stream, and it worked. But then when I watched the stream back afterwards, every time there was movement in that stream, it was going a bit like blocky.
That's quite common, though.
This doesn't happen when but it didn't happen when I was streaming from the PS4.
Yeah.
It just
PS4
didn't
does it all
happen.
the time.
Oh, it
certainly didn't when I was
nowhere
doing
near as bad, Sean. Nowhere near as bad.
It was nowhere near as bad, Sean. I promise you, it wasn't. Like, when I was streaming from the PS4, it was pretty solid. You're right. There were some graphical glitches
when
and
you
stuff.
were streaming Fall Guys, you kept saying how bollocks it was.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really bad.
It's still there is a big difference. I've streamed on both of these like a lot, probably more than any of you. Like in terms of like how many games I've streamed on them, and it's like there is a massive difference like between them in terms of quality and
yeah, I do remember, but I think that was right. I know what you're saying, Sean. That I think that was 1 or 2 streams. I don't think that was a consistent thing with that, because when I was streaming Shenmue, it seemed to be pretty good. I could be wrong. I don't even remember.
There's even just simple things like like you can't see the chat. There's just so many things which are just wrong about it. That make it irritating.
Yeah, you can't add the chat. I was looking for that. I wanted to add the chat up while I was streaming in the week, and it just wasn't an option.
And the thing is like if you're streaming, like most of us are streaming on like reasonable sized TVs, it's not like you're not reducing too much like TV space or whatever to be able to see the chat as well. Having a small
I'm not too
bar
worried
with
about that, because I could just have my laptop next to me while
it's annoying,
while I'm playing.
Keep like looking to your side every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But anyway, our sharing gameplay was super impressive.
Yeah.
It happened really quickly. When James first started sharing his gameplay with me, I was like, okay, it's a bit framey, but after a bit, it sped up, and I can have it full screen.
So how do you set that up? Do you request it, or do you have to send an invite?
So the person has to like share their gameplay. I can't just watch James. James will have to like basically go to like the parties essentially and say, share my gameplay, select a friend, or depending on what gamer base you're in. Then you can share it to everyone.
Okay,
so James shared
cool.
it first, and then you have the option of I could watch James full screen. I can have it pinned to a side, so a third of the screen is James's stream in this case, and the other 2/3 of the game I'm playing. Or you can have it picture in picture, and you can move it all around the screen.
Yeah, that looked great.
It's just so impressive. And then so James shared his first, and it was like, actually, let's try and share both of ours. So we're sharing both our gameplay at once. If you switched games, it just said cannot share their screen, and then and then went back into the other game.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so I didn't just cut it out. Because as I said, as James said, we're trying to beat each other's times on these Astrobot levels, and it's just really cool to have both of you on party chat, both see each other, both hear each other. It's just
that was the funniest thing. It's like when you're watching it and then you're like, he's fucked it. You can't see what's going on. It's brilliant.
The other fantastic system level thing, bringing up trying to beat each other's times in Astrobot or whatever. The whole leaderboards being integrated into the system sounded annoying when I first heard it. But then when you see what it does, where like it comes up and says such and such has beaten your score, and then you just press the button and you're in that level doing that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's big, man. That's really cool.
And also because it is, this was the first time actually I was really impressed by the speed with the SSD and all that kind of stuff as well, because it's like it popped up saying Matt's just beaten your score. I pressed the PlayStation button and then pressed okay, go. And then literally seconds later, I was on exactly the same level and about to start. And that was good. I was quite impressed by that.
I was saying to James, like, there's no quick resume on his console, but the games load so quick that it's probably not quick resume speed, but it doesn't really matter. And this also with that with like the score chasing leaderboards notifications you get, it definitely makes me think, well, this makes me want more games digitally. So I'm like, someone's beating my score, bang, not like I'll find a disc and stuff. But yeah, with Astrobot, it's just amazing because you press when you press the PlayStation button once and that the other menu pops up with all the cards, you can see all, at least in Astrobot's case,
Have you played any third-party games on it?
I played Miles and Bugsnax.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm just wondering how
Sackboy.
many of these games that are cross-platform include all this cool stuff.
I don't know, because that's the thing with the cards. I mean, the card system I think is okay. I mean, I'm not massively impressed by it. I think it's all right. It's one of those things where it's
what's on the cards? We've seen that when you press a PlayStation button, these cards come up right on the screen. What's actually on them?
It depends. I mean, it depends on what game you're playing. So if you're playing something like when you're playing Astrobot, it will like pop up and it will say, okay, these are some of the things that you've been doing recently. It then will tell you like how long it will take to finish most of these things, and then also then you can just like click on them and then just go directly to that point and then just like continue. You could do that's pretty cool. That's kind of nice. I like
so
that.
if you've got trophies to get, it'll say, oh, you've got 70% of this trophy. It'll take another 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And wherever you are,
that's going to be very game specific, isn't it? Because there's certain games that won't want you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the kind of thing where I think, like for big open world games, like this feels like it's been designed basically for those open world games where you're like going around picking up loads of things and you're going to like different, like if you're playing Grand Theft Auto and it's like, okay, I'm going to do all the side missions, and then you can like just directly select them or whatever from that.
Or you could do it in Miles as well. Like you don't have to traverse the map. You're like, okay, do that challenge there, bang, bang, bang. It's basically fast travel in games now built into the OS.
But I mean, you don't have to do it. Like it's there if you want it. If you don't want to, you can kind of ignore it. It's also got like game help as well. Like if like for some of these, like if you, for example, like on Astrobot, if you were like looking for like specific things in the game and you can't find stuff, you just tap on it and it will say, okay, show like a video, and then they give you like a little video hint, and that is nice. I mean, it's one of those things.
Loving that.
I didn't actually do it. I didn't know. I wish I had. I've got all the trophies now.
Bollocks.
Have you done it, James?
I've definitely tried it. There's no way you've not done that, Matt. Bollocks.
No, I didn't. Because when I was playing, I was like, oh, I want to try that, and then in the end, I just got them all, and I didn't. I went to a website. I could do it automatically, like muscle memory.
But it's one of those.
Right. So you did look up the solutions, but on the internet, you didn't use it.
Yeah. I just automatically decided, okay, I've had like 4 or 5 trophies left to get. I was like, trophy list for for Astrobot.
Oh right, I believe that then. That's fine.
But now I'm like, I wish I tried. So maybe Sackboy, I'll give it a go. So how quick do the videos load and stuff, James?
They're pretty instant. They load instantly, and it's like, and you got
to remember that James is on 2 meg download, so that's pretty impressive. That it's instant.
But they appear like picture in picture, or you can blow them up. You can do the whole sort of thing. It's pretty.
Not that it
good.
matters, but does that stuff work online, or is it streaming that from?
I think it's streamed from online. It's not like part of the download or anything.
From online.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Stream online.
But Sean, it could be streamed from a DVD or from a Blu-ray.
Could be streamed from a DVD.
Could, yeah, it's perfectly possible.
Well,
but yeah.
I think that's probably enough about the PS5 OS.
There are other things about it that are annoying as well. And I mean, one of the things that is particularly annoying about it is that, like, the bar at the bottom, as I said, you can't customize it and you can't move things around. But there's things that you think should be on there that are not. And then you're like, how do I get to this? Like, I had to look up a guide, I had to look online to find out how I could view the screenshots and photos I'd taken. Because it's not immediately apparent, how to do this.
Has it not got capture gallery like
it has.
PS4?
It has, but it's like it's an app, so it's like you have to go into your library to
like
open it.
Yeah,
I know, but it doesn't appear like initially on the home screen. So you have to like go into the library to find it, which is, I know that's not like a big thing, but it's one of those things where you'd think that should be on the bar at the bottom, because that's something you're probably going to be looking at.
But I thought that's what it did on the PS4 as well. So if you hadn't opened the capture gallery for a while, it would go into your library and you'd have to get it from there.
So I think it's fair to assume that's something that they would have improved.
Yeah,
this time
exactly.
around. Especially now that I know the Xbox has done this for ages, but now that I know how the Xbox works, where it's like it's basically on your phone within seconds.
Well,
of capturing
it's on your phone and it's on that guide, isn't it? You just go to the guide and go to captures and stuff, and it's there.
So I think it's fair enough to assume Sony might have tried to match that, but.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think overall.
So wait. So if you take a video, if you capture a video, can you then download it on your phone?
I don't know. I've not tried that.
I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah. That's something that's I'd have to have a look and see if that's possible. I don't know.
Or do you have to? Because that was I hated having to tweet it from the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas with the Xbox for a while, I just downloaded it on my phone into my gallery and then just uploaded it to Twitter. It was way
overall
easier.
With the OS, I'm not blown away by it, and I've kind of got the same issues that I was worried about before. Where I'm like, it looks awesome. I think,
yeah,
but
it does look nice.
Functionality wise, it was great, and I'm still getting to grips with it. So, but it doesn't feel 100% intuitive. I'm sure weeks and months down the line it will be fine, but it's not instantly like the PS4 and PS3 thing was so simple. I knew exactly where to go because it's literally just up, down, left, right.
Yeah, you're remembering that after
it's more complicated, more menus. I mean, I'm sure I'll get used to it, but it's not as intuitive as I may have hoped it would have been instantly, but that's starting to learn, I guess.
I think there's just a few too many button presses you have to get to things, which is a bit annoying. And I mean, you know me, I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox UI either. I find that irritating in many ways. But the guides of the Xbox is good. Is compared with this is better. It's
plus as you say, it's that
pretty good.
Knowing that Microsoft do iterate on these things, even mid-generation stuff potentially might change. Whereas Sony are just no, that's pretty much your lot. There might be minor tweaks, but yeah.
Well, hopefully they change that stance a little bit. You never know what they're going to do.
I think they will.
There's one other thing about the hardware. Which is PlayStation VR. Can I just talk about that just really quickly? Not the games, but the actual hardware. Because
this sounds mad to me. This sounds mad, right? Because before the console come out, it was as if they were just going, "Dunno, try it, plug it in, and see what happens."
Yeah.
I don't know. Order this little thing that we'll send you, and it might connect, and I don't know. Just try it. And then by the sounds of it, everything you've been saying, James, is it's a massive improvement.
Yeah. Well, this is what's really strange, because the first thing I tried, actually, was Bridge Crew, rather.
Bridge Crew.
I thought I'd try Bridge Crew, because there was that whole thing about it doesn't work. It doesn't work on PS5. It does work on PS5. Okay. And it works with, with the motion controllers and the whole thing. I mean, I did a mission... No problems at all. I mean, I'd like to try it, playing in multiplayer and see if that's...
No problems at all. Was that a little dig at Matt there?
It's actually a little bit easier on my own, now that I think about it.
What was actually quite a lot easier. But it works absolutely fine.
You see, because this is James down to a T. All he wants is an army of fucking AI robots that he can just beep, boop, beep, just give commands to. It's not easier than people.
It was much easier.
There's no way we should give James an army of AI robots walking down the street, ripping down Christmas decorations. It's too early.
So, James, did you need the DualShock for that, or was it DualSense?
I used no, because DualSense games absolutely you can't use the DualSense because obviously it doesn't have the although in some games if they don't need the what's it called, the light bar, then I think you probably could use it. It probably still would work. Right. So I used the motion controllers for that, and they were fine. Worked absolutely no problem at all. I mean, it didn't look any better. It looked pretty much exactly the same as it does on PS4. But the big thing, I mean, okay, what is annoying though is that I found that I couldn't have the the breakout box thing. I can't have that connected to my PS5 and then connected to my TV all the time because it.
Not enough room in a house?
No, because in the options, when you do a video output check, it says if you're using this breakout box, it will limit the colour palette that you'll see on the thing. So I was like, I don't really want to do that. So it is it's messing around having to disconnect cables whenever you want to use it or whatever.
That's a pain.
Which was it is a bit annoying, but it's not an absolute disaster. Just a bit irritating. But
okay.
For games that have some games have been patched already for to work better. So Blood and Truth is one of the games. I'll probably talk about it more later, but incredible. The difference it makes is incredible. And this is the thing. Dave, you're right. You said in our WhatsApp group, you said, why are they not saying anything about this? And I have no idea why they're not making a big deal out of this, because it's...
the only thing that I can think is that actually the next PSVR option is coming sooner than we think.
Maybe.
That's the only reason.
No, I don't think it's that. It's because they can't say, hey, it makes every game better, because they'll say, well, it makes this one game better because they've put the work and effort in.
No, but that's not even the case, because for games that have variable resolution, which some games do, for PlayStation VR, they all look better. If you play Star Wars Squadron now, it looks much better than it does on PS4 Pro, even because that has variable resolution. So any game that has that will definitely look better, like on it. And
but Sony aren't going to get into that sort of into the weeds. If it was every single game, then sure. But I feel like it's
it's not like Microsoft said, "Oh, quick resume's great."
But then, but then Microsoft have received criticism for that, haven't they? But with like, quick resume, smart delivery, etc., etc. And then everyone's been disappointed by the reality that actually not all of it works.
I know, but Microsoft are always like relentlessly positive, like about anything. Like it's part of the.
Oh, that's why you don't like them.
No, it's like come on. They said that Halo Infinite looked amazing when that first came out, and it's like it's just the relentless positivity. But anyway. That is something about it, and dealing with the cables and all that kind of thing is annoying. But the only other thing about the console, like the hardware, that I would say is I am a bit disappointed, not massively disappointed, but like a little bit disappointed that it is not as whisper quiet as my Series S.
Is it not?
Yeah, because the Series S, I don't even hear in it. Like it's just completely silent. There is like a hum, and and it's one of those things where it's like if you compare it to like a PS4 Pro. There's no comparison. Like that sounds like I had to wear headphones when I was playing that console like all the time because it was so loud. It's fine. Like if you're playing a game, you can't hear it at all because like but then I think you've been conditioned to when you're aware that there's an issue, and so you're like listening for it all the time, and that's kind of how it feels with this.
Maybe your hearing's been damaged from the PS4, but I don't know, man. Like the thing that concerns me when I hear that stuff is that these consoles traditionally have always been quietest when you first buy them.
Yeah.
And then after a year or two, what's it going to sound like? And, I've seen a lot of people saying that their PS5 is noisy or their PS5 is making a humming sound. And I've seen a lot of people say that it's totally silent as well. So, you might just have a broken PS5. How would that be?
I don't know. But at the moment, it's fine. It's not something which is... it really is one of those things where I said it to Chen. I was like, "Can you hear that?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "There's like a humming. There's like a slight humming noise." And so
but she's used to hearing whining 24/7. So
very good.
Got him.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, okay, that's enough about the PS5. Let's hear about that pad. Yeah. Let's hear about the DualSense. And before we get onto the haptics, I want to talk basic. What's it feel like? What does it look like? What are the buttons like?
That was another thing, though, that we were going to talk about. This is the other thing, the experience we had with the UI stuff, which is connected with this as well. Which is directly connected to this because Matt and I were also trying out the microphone stuff. With the DualSense and like using it for voice chat.
Right, yeah.
And
that's the pad then, isn't it? Let's start with that.
Yeah, well, this is what's really weird about it because, like, like before. If you were using a console like without a headset, people's voice would always come through the TV and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really annoying and awful. And it's really terrible. This is really strange because on the DualSense, the other person's voice comes through the speaker on the DualSense.
Oh, I'd hate that.
No, it's not bad.
Hate that.
No, it's really not bad at all.
I live with people, James.
No, so do I.
No, it's way better than the alternative coming out of TV.
Yeah,
it's just next to you. It's just really
that's
just
fine.
You.
That's fine, Matt. Right, but some of the stuff we shout at each other when we miss a shot in FIFA Pro Clubs.
You're missing the point.
I don't need my wife hearing that.
No, because the whole point with this is it really feels like this is why there's no way that you're going to use this if you're playing like games for like long periods of time with somebody. You're not going to do that. You're definitely still going to put a headset on. But if you want to just like have a quick conversation or something like that without having to like get your headset on and do the whole thing, this is perfect because
How often does that happen though?
I was about to say.
Oh, I'm just going to give Farley a ring on the old PlayStation.
It sounds like I get a party invite and I'm like, oh, where's my headset? I've got to plug it in. And where's now? Just like press it saying, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Or I'll find my headset.
Okay, for that minor
really
moment.
impressed, actually.
It's a handy option. It's a handy option to have. We don't need, you don't need to have like a headset like. You can just use it just for a few minutes or whatever like that, and the sound quality is not bad. It's not great at all, but it's all right. It's passable if you just want to have like a quick conversation. You don't want those terrible
things. The thing that came in the PS4, where it's just one horrible thing in your ear. It's not going to come out of the TV accidentally. It's like it's a nice volume where you could play it in a room, and the rest of the house isn't going to hear, but you can hear.
Well, my fear was like Matt. don't think we've spoken about this on the show, but Matt's controller usage is like I've never heard anything like it, Sean. I have never heard anything like it. Let me just go 1 sec. I'm just gonna.
I guess some people would probably describe it as every game I'm playing sounds like I'm playing track and field.
so you pass when we play pro clubs, you pass Matt the ball, and this is what you hear. And then on the screen, he just passes to someone else, and I'm thinking that's one button press. Like, what?
I don't know, man. I generally, people who have the restraint to just press the one button they need to the required number of times freak me out.
Yeah,
serial killers, mate.
About?
It's just... I want to make sure that button works.
Yeah.
I want to make sure the input works.
Yeah, but in FIFA, more than one button press means a completely different move.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. There's crazy stuff on the pitch.
Dave, did you not see me playing FIFA 17?
Matt's like moonwalking away from the ball. I didn't even know that was an option.
Doing celebrations.
So we're getting to the point. Can you hear the button presses and the clicking of the analog sticks through the mic?
I didn't hear that, no. But then that may be because we were not playing games when we were doing that.
Brilliant conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I want that.
I would explain it. Yes.
but it was just it was impressive and easy, and no headset needed.
I didn't hear that because we didn't have the controllers in our so it's not a problem. Okay, all right. So that's the mic. What about the buttons? How's it feel? Is it the shape of it? Is the sticks thing a problem? The triggers. What we talking about?
What's the sticks thing? Sorry.
Well, the fact that the sticks are in the wrong place, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's traditionally what. And the D-pad, like, take away the haptics and the
triggers,
false triggers or whatever. How does the pad actually feel?
I don't like the feel of it. I still don't like the feel of it as much as the Xbox controller. Like, I really don't. Like, it's
what's wrong?
It feels slightly too big. And I don't mean like ridiculously too big, but it does, not like the console itself, but it does feel like slightly too big.
I thought, which isn't a problem apparently. No. You can't make those jokes, James, because you've stood by the size of that console.
Yeah, but I'm not holding the console, am I? Like the whole time, whereas the DualSense.
No, but you were in the unboxing video going, it's fine. You couldn't even get it under the camera that you'd set up. Go on.
But no, it feels a little like slightly too big, I feel. And I mean the stick placement, I don't really have a massive problem with that. But the buttons, also the travel on the buttons is like feels a bit less than it did on the other controllers. But in general, I think it doesn't matter. Like, when you're actually playing games, it doesn't matter because the haptic stuff, like, more than makes up for all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it does matter because if developers don't pick up that haptic stuff in the way that Sony are hoping, then that's the controller you're left with. So I do think it matters.
I just find the Xbox controller more comfortable to hold. Like, in general, I just think it's a more comfortable controller to hold. But that's
Matt, what do you think?
No, I agree with that. I absolutely love the way it looks. I've loved the way it looks from the first time I saw it. The console less so, but I've loved the colour and design. I do think the Xbox pad feels nicer in the hand. This is big and I really like it, but I think the new Xbox pad's just amazing with like the extra grip. If this was grippier, I would probably like it a little bit more. But even taking out,
textured, right? It's got
it's textured.
It's textured on the back. Not on the front.
It's not textured like the Xbox One is though. Like that's like quite heavily textured. Like on the back, it's got like a real grip sort of feeling to it.
Got to love that texture.
Yeah, this is.
I think I love the way it looks. And yes, I guess I prefer the stick placement on the Xbox, but I've played enough hours on DualShock that I don't mind this, and I love the look. And I think it feels like a really quality controller, personally.
I would have to say that I think the triggers are better than the Xbox ones. I really do that. I really do think
because I think the triggers are incredible on the Xbox.
No, I think the triggers on this are better. They feel
much
more
before the cool, resistive stuff.
Yeah,
this is
even without that, they feel nicer.
Without that,
they're nice. They're nice triggers. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, right. Let's forget all that crap. Let's get to the good stuff. The haptics, the adaptable triggers, or whatever. How you been finding that?
Well, yeah, they're fucking brilliant. This is the thing, because this was like more than I was expecting. Because I mean, honestly, of the games that I've played, Astrobot is definitely the one that really shows off like what it could do. That's the design. That's what the purpose of that game is. But it's subtler in other games, but it's still there. But in Astrobot, it's incredible. Like there's one section where because what they do, most of the things with the haptics is it's not just the haptics, but it's also sound, and it's the way that the speaker is giving out a lot more sound. It feels than the PS4 one ever did. Like they use sound and the haptics like together. And there's one in the first level of Astrobot. There's a section where it starts raining, and you can just feel the rain. Like it's crazy. Like the feeling of that, and that is also because of the sound that they're sort of pumping out at the same time. And then it starts to hail, and it gets like more intense, like this sort of feeling. And that is wonderful. Like it really is like such a fantastic feeling, like through the thing. But again, it's not just the haptics,
how does it
sound.
Again, not forget about the triggers.
Mm-hmm.
How does it compare to because this sounds fantastic compared to say the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, it's
the Joy-Cons. We were buzzing because it's like, you know, we're shaking the balls in the what's it. So what does that do that the Joy-Cons don't?
Well, the Joy-Cons have never really been utilised, I don't think. I mean, they've never really been utilised, have they, really?
No,
like
but in 1-2 Switch, you could see the technology was pretty incredible, right?
Yeah. But for some reason, they never... I think it's because it feels like it can be applied in different ways, that it didn't seem that it was possible to do this with the Joy-Cons, maybe. You know, in the fact that because it's like, it feels like it's across over the whole pad, like feels like it's, you know, that you're getting these, like, the feedback from it. Which you don't ever really... I never really felt that you got that from the Joy-Cons. I mean, I know
you didn't. And I mean, if you wanted to use it as a normal controller, then you were putting it in a bit of plastic, which obviously took a lot of... Like, your hands were wrapped around that plastic and not the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
So you didn't have that feeling across the full pad, did you?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the big difference. And it's just the way the whole thing feels like it's alive, like when you're playing, which is really nice. It's a really, really nice feeling. And I mean, it's
starting to sound like Cerny there.
Well, that's the problem, because it is ridiculous, because it is really difficult to explain why it's impressive unless you feel it yourself. It's really. I mean, the kids. Come on, slap pads.
I'm just saying, if Cammy was still doing the computer game stuff, James, you'd be dead.
I think he's going to start it up again this week, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think computer games is going to come back. And you've just exposed who it was there, Sean. The long-running secret.
That's been public knowledge for ages.
Oh, is it? Okay, fine. Yeah.
I mean, let's just say it feels wonderful when it's vibrating in your hand. It's just incredible. Yeah, it's just...
triggers.
Yeah. And the triggers, yeah, I mean, the triggers... That's weird, because I think that's been oversold, though, actually, the triggers.
Really?
Like, yeah, compared with the... I mean, the vibration, like, the haptic stuff is really impressive, but the triggers, it feels more like... You know how they said, like, it's like, oh, it depends on how much you pull it, and then it doesn't feel... It feels like it's basically... It feels a lot more sort of digital than that, really, in the sense that, like, you pull it, and then it, like, locks, and then it's like you have to pull it harder to, like, make it...
But that's weird, because it is mechanical, right? It's on a spiral that can, you know, resist and stuff, so... But it feels more digital than that.
But I think that's because of the games we played. I mean, I hear COD, every gun feels different in terms of how the triggers react. Whereas
but I've heard that COD players hate that. Apparently COD players tend to put their the shooting button on the buttons, the shoulder buttons, because the travel on a fucking thing's too much.
Yeah, because if you're trying to be competitive, that's probably a deal, isn't it? It's like,
obviously, if you're playing through the campaign, you'd want that stuff because that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, go on, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, in the examples we've had in Astrobot, there's you get a device where you can basically spring around the place, and that you basically hold down halfway, and you, like, clicks and stuff, so you have that, but...
Does it feel like the GameCube pad? Because that had a kick at the end.
Actually, it does feel quite a lot like that. But then, again, it's the combination of, like, sound... plus using these as well, because the thing that Matt was talking about, there's in Astrobot, one of the levels, you get into like this little robot, and then it becomes like a spring, and then so as you like pull them, oh come on, it's nothing, is it? It's just like
take it on.
As you pull them down, it feels like you're like pushing a spring down, but then you get the sound as well coming through the pad that sounds like a spring that's being like, you know, like pushed in, and so then it just feels right. It really feels like you're like pulling a spring.
Really feel tension.
It's like, and that is incredible. Like, a lot of that stuff is very, very impressive. The only other thing
isn't Astrobot like their lead Like, why is he not Sony's?
I mean, we'll get on to that when we talk about the game properly. But my God, yeah, you're totally right.
Well, should we do that? Should we do that?
That's not
it is the demo for the pad.
We've sort of talked about the hardware quite a bit, right? But as Microsoft taught us, the hardware isn't much to go on unless the software is good. So let's get on to what you've been playing. Let's start with Astrobot.
Yeah, I mean, it is just wonderful. I mean, as a demonstration, I mean, I said this, I think I tweeted this maybe online, I can't remember. It's like, as a demonstration of the DualSense and why it matters, it's perfect. Like, it really, in that sort of like Wii Sports vein of like, as soon as you do this, you can really get why this is, you know, I don't want to say like game changer because I don't think it's going to be actually, because I don't think enough developers are going to take advantage of it, which is tragic.
I think the pad is cool as hell, but I wouldn't call it revolutionary.
No.
It's cool as hell. It really adds a lot. It's really, I mean, Astrobot is a perfect demo for it, and it's like, wow, what a great pad. And you can see why they put the money and technology into this pad, making it a little bit different from what they've done in the past with all this, the haptic feedback and the triggers. But I wouldn't call it revolutionary. It's cool as hell, and I'm very excited about what happens in the future. And Astrobot, as James said, it's a perfect demo for that. At every level, numerous parts of each level, you're like, I'm feeling another cool sensation, whether I'm walking over glass, walking over grass, or bits of wood, or feeling the rain or hail. It's like
I'm a spring.
Everything has a slight different. Yeah, spring. It's like, and you're totally right. It's like this town combined with that. It's like, okay, this does feel different. It feels cool. Not revolutionary, I don't think, but cool as hell.
And I think, I mean, with the pad, we'll decide. I mean, like a year from now, maybe we can decide whether it really is like like has made any difference. I don't think it will, because from what we've seen from playing like the other games that have come out with it at the same time, Astrobot's really the only one that really uses it in like a massive way.
Oh, really? Because I heard Miles Morales was pretty cool with it.
It does, but it's not as pronounced as it is in Astrobot at all.
Yeah, it's a lot more subtle.
Yeah,
it's nothing like, oh wow, I'm feeling like this. It's like you can feel.
I think you're right, James. I think that's the biggest fear, isn't it? I mean, Microsoft implemented the rumble triggers in Xbox One, and Forza used it, and then it was never really used again. And that's just rumbling the triggers. Like, it's not to that level of intensity. The only hope I've got is that Sony consoles sell, in the last generation, I think if Sony had implemented the rumble triggers and not Microsoft, I think a lot more developers would have used it, because the user base was so much higher. So maybe they've got that to the advantage.
I also think Astrobot is a demo not just for consumers like us playing it, but it's almost like a call to arms for developers. Like, look what this thing can do. With the hopefully that inspires developers to say, actually, maybe we will try and implement some of these cool things. If Astrobot, a free packing game used to demo the device, does this.
Yeah, the developers don't want to know.
Developers saying, maybe we can do something cool with it.
And the thing is,
developers don't want to know like how cool it is. They want to know how hard it is to implement that stuff. But especially if they're releasing on the other console.
But the thing is like if it's done as well as it is in Astrobot, I would pick playing with this over playing it on Xbox like every time.
Oh god,
because because it really does add so much. Like it's a massive like add. Like if it's there, it's I would absolutely
for sure.
I would choose this over like visual fidelity.
It'd be really interesting to see if devs pick this up. How easy would be to implement, like to just take that work that they've done for that pad and translate it to a Joy-Con. Like, I'd be fascinated to see if we suddenly get a bunch of games that use the Joy-Con to its
just because they're like, well, we'll pour it over and it's a lot of the same stuff.
I'd love to know that. If anyone's working in the industry and they know about this, designing for this specific pad, I am almost certain that it's almost impossible to translate it across really easily. But I'd like to know if you've got any insight into that. Email in and that.
Dave, I thought you were going to say, I'd love to know...
Go on.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say, I'd love to know what it's like on Xbox. Like, it feels like I'm walking across glass on Xbox. Like, no, it's not quite the same.
Also, if you want to guess what Dad Awake it is, please email in. Go on. Let's add back to Astrobot.
Yeah. So I mean, but aside from that, it's also one of the best platformers I've played for a while, and mostly because it has such a fantastic like difficulty curve as well. And it's just all the attention to detail. It's it's funny because there's just the whole thing is basically a massive like PlayStation reference thing. Like that's what the whole thing is. And as a piece of like marketing and branding, I think it's quite something. I mean, what do you think about that, Matt? Because like,
I mean,
they've done.
I didn't love the PS1, and I've never been like a Sony fanboy in that regard. But this is a massive love letter to the history of PlayStation, and it makes you think, wow, like they've done so much, and they've had so many cool games and famous franchises and experiences over the years. And this, from the very first moment we saw the PlayStation 1 through to today, it's just got a million references to the games, the peripherals, the experiences, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It feels like I can't believe almost Nintendo haven't done this with Nintendo's rich and varied history of all. They've
done it kind of before with WarioWare and stuff like that. They've done things like this, you know.
And Smash Brothers has a lot of that.
It's all of that. Yeah. But this what's really clever about this is that the whole game is based around like there's these four areas that you go to, which are all like 4 parts of the machine of the PS5.
Of the PS5, yeah.
But each of them is themed around like previous generation, like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what you're doing as you go through is you pick up like components and things from those machines. Like you'll pick up like
peripherals.
Like peripherals. Like you pick up like things like iToy, like for PS2.
You pick up the iToy.
Yeah,
you have to clean a window.
But this is what's really no. But then there's all these references that say stuff like that as well, which is really nice. And it feels
you clean a window.
It
says that on there, does it?
It's I can't remember what it
doesn't
says.
mention window cleaning, no.
Does it do the Eye of Judgment?
Actually, I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah,
James, brilliant. What a memorable game.
No,
what a lovely experience you had with this game.
But what's brilliant about it is that you're going around, you're collecting all this stuff, and it's like they're presenting this as being like, this is our history. Yeah, this is like the history of like what we've done over these years. And then
is there a bit about the data leak?
There's a bit about Jason, actually.
Is there a bit about where they wouldn't refund people and ended up banning them from the system? Is there stuff about that in there?
$599 That was up there.
Do you get to the PS4 bit and there's a massive loud jet engine going on in the background? Is that all in there? Is it?
Yeah, I couldn't do any of that section actually.
But no, what's cool about it though is that you're going through and you're collecting all this stuff, and it's like, okay, this is our history, and it's like, I think they're trying to make you feel that you're part of this, by collecting all this stuff and like making this massive museum and everything. And it's like, this, you've joined this family of this, of like, these.
That sounds
this
like
history.
Promotional speech,
absolutely,
James,
and that's what I said.
That.
That's what I said before. It's like this. I mean, as a piece of marketing and branding, it's amazing. Like as the way that they put this together, it's quite.
Sorry, again, that sounds like marketing speech.
James. Enjoy this.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's very obviously like a marketing exercise, but it's been executed very well. It's very well put together, and and
you don't want the pie.
With the game being incredibly enjoyable as well. Like it's a very good game. I mean, Matt, what do you think? Sorry, I'm just shouting a lot.
Well, that was a handbrake.
Yeah, I know. I've just realised I'm shouting a lot.
It's good. I was enjoying you talk about it. Yeah, I mean, one of the many things I love about this game. I mean, basically, I loved Astrobot Rescue Mission on PSVR. It's that again.
Yeah, I mean,
all the same.
Look, this is what's hilarious, right? And sorry, Matt, but this is what's hilarious. That I've seen so many people on threads going, "Oh my god, the Astrobot is amazing! I love the character, I love the design. It does some incredible things." The people that had PSVR are going, "Yeah, we saw that stuff a couple of years ago." Because I mean, Astrobot Rescue Mission was utterly insane. It was so good, and to see that they followed it up with another game that sounds very similar, because Astrobot was Rescue Mission was very much, this is what the PSVR can do. This is why this is cool. And it sounds like this is exactly the same, but for that controller.
Yeah.
And that's cool, man. Sorry,
but
Matt.
I think it's, but what was cool about Rescue Mission was that, yes, it was a showcase for PSVR, but actually it was just a pretty fucking good platformer in its own right. So it never felt gimmicky, did it? And it sounds like this is the same. Like,
exactly.
The PSVR, but Astrobot's Rescue Mission was very gimmicky for a large portion of that game, I thought. But it warranted it. It was fine. Like, it didn't feel like blowing on the DS, which was very much like, come on. And it annoys me, actually, as well, because in a lot of the promotional stuff I've seen from the pad on adverts and stuff from Sony, they've been showing blowing on the pad, and I just thought, I know it's hard to explain why that pad's so good, but don't show that. We were doing that years ago. We don't need to blow on things. No one wants to, especially at the moment. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to do that.
It also only happens about 2 or 3 times in the whole game as well. It's not like a major thing.
Yeah, we hijacked you there. Go
on. I can't remember what I was saying, but there are countless references to other games in the history of PlayStation, and that's absolutely one of my favourite things about this game. Every time you turn a corner, really, you see a few other of mini Astrobots. And when I first saw them, I was like, "What are these guys doing?" And I think I streamed that when I after setting up PlayStation, I streamed a bit of Astrobot, and I'm like, "Who are these?" And people were like, "Look at them." I was like, "Oh my god, that's a reference to that game." And there are so many of these, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's that game," and everyone was a joy trying to work it out. I mean, there were a bunch I didn't. This is
terrible, right? This is terrible. I don't want to spoil it for our listeners, so I'm going to ask you right now. And because we're on camera, I can see your answer and I won't react to it. Is there a Death Stranding reference in this?
Yes.
Just not... Oh, unbelievable.
David, there's a Heavy Rain reference in this game.
Oh, amazing.
Of course there is. It's basically references to pretty much every PlayStation game you might know.
Right, for starters, Matt, you should have nodded or shook your head there. That was the whole point of me saying that I didn't want to spoil it. Secondly, Exactly. Secondly, right, was the Heavy Rain reference? James is like, there's a Heavy Rain reference in there. Matt's like, no, there isn't. Yeah, there is. Yeah, I was really struggling to get through a door. Oh, no, that's not a reference, James. That's just you struggling again. Go on, Matt.
Yeah, so seeing all those mini Astrobots, all the references to all the games was brilliant. I absolutely loved that, trying to work out which one it was and if I got it or didn't. I thought that was really clever. And yeah, it's like Rescue Mission on PSVR. The music's an absolute joy. Even songs about the SSD really gets in your brain. It's like really like a real,
Yeah, the songs are
That's
great.
the other thing as well, isn't it? I mean, the music in Rescue Mission was unbelievable, and when I was going through a bit of a breakdown last week about not having a PS5, and I think we can describe it as a breakdown.
I was for a second then I was being like, oh god, Dave's about to talk about something serious, and he's like laughing about it. And then, no, you're just talking about not getting the console.
I was
talking about not getting the console, Sean, not getting the toy that I wanted, despite the fact that I bought the toy that I wanted the week before. And, you do have that FOMO stuff. And, I try and think I'm above that. But when the day the PS5 come out and everyone was getting it over here anyway, I was just like, oh man, I need this. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch a Astrobot review just to see what they say. And I watched it and I heard like some incredible music and I went, oh yeah, the music for the rescue mission was so good and there's more of it in there. That absolutely sucks that I'm not hearing that and feeling it right now. But
the music's amazing. Yeah. It looks amazing. It's such a great game to play. I platinumed it. It's my first ever platinum. I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people because it doesn't take an awful lot to platinum this. I think once you play the game, and I think once you get through most of the game, you probably only go like 5 or 6 left to get to platinum it. It's not terribly hard. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to stop playing it, and even today, doing some time trials because you unlock them at various points as well, where you can there's time trial specific levels, and as we've gone over, you get notifications if you beat your friends and stuff, and that is really addictive and fun to play. It's just an absolute joy from start to finish. And if you enjoyed Rescue Mission before, you absolutely love this. Even if you didn't play it before, you'll love this. My thoughts now are, we've had Rescue Mission on PSVR, which arguably is a niche because it's VR, not everyone's going to be into it. We've had this, which is a free package to promote the game.
Going to play, yeah.
And they're such an incredibly talented studio, which are basically for me making Nintendo level 3D platformers.
Yeah,
I want the next game to be a proper full. I mean, that's maybe been slagging off what they've done up to now. It's not, but a proper full 3D platformer in the vein of Super Mario Odyssey, because they absolutely got the skills, the music, the gameplay. I mean, it's made me love Astrobot like a mascot I've seen from one VR game and now this.
Well, this is it.
Please make a full game, please.
Yeah. So I've been saying since playing Rescue Mission, Astrobot needs to be their character. Like, that needs to be the Sony character. They tried it with Sackboy. Sackboy, I loved as a character. I hated every game he was in. But Astrobot, just instantly lovable. Love the look of it, the design, the noises it makes, the music that you associate with it. That needs to be Sony's like sort of character now. They need to shove it everywhere.
Well, because also it fits with like the aesthetic of like the console as well, and like everything. It's all like the futuristic robot kind of thing. It's
Let's do a good transition here, because you say that you're hoping for a proper 3D platformer, Astrobot, like a full game. Now, there was a Sackboy proper 3D platformer that come out at launch. You both played it?
Yeah.
How's it compare?
I mean, I would say it's not as good as Astrobot, but I've been impressed with it. I mean, I've never really played much of the Little Big Planet stuff. I've heard about the floaty platforming, etc., etc. I played this actually, so I played a little bit of Astrobot in like the first level when I did the stream, then stopped. And the first game I played properly was actually Sackboy, because I told Elodie about it, and she was excited about playing this game, and so that was what we played most of the time I could play on launch day was Sackboy, and I'm really impressed for what it is. I mean, I've only like 2 hours or so in. It looks really nice. The levels are fun. They're quite simplistic at the beginning. I'm hoping they get a bit more complex. Everything is fine. I went back to Astrobot, and I think that is better in pretty much every way, shape, and form. But I'll be impressed with Sackboy. I mean, how much? I mean, I haven't played co-op because I've only got one pad. I didn't want to get a second pad and Elodie not even bother with it. But so we're just playing past the pad, and she enjoyed it, and I enjoyed playing with her, and the game seems really pleasant and fun.
I mean, look, we spoke about this
also one thing straight away, by the way, it's not floaty. The controls aren't floaty. I will say that.
That's good.
Right
that's good. It is a shame that they couldn't let you use for second pad the old pad. Do you know what I mean? Like, just being able to do that is, I just think it would have. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah, but also now I can see why when they're like, hey, here's all stuff this one can do. It will be a totally different experience.
That's fine. It'll be a different experience. But when you're playing just a quick game of 2-player or whatever,
just to give like basic functionality,
especially when it's a game that is cross-gen as well.
Mm-hmm. And almost definitely people will bring out third-party PS5 pads that don't do any of this shit.
Yeah.
For like
also,
20
the
quid
thing
or
is
whatever.
You can remote play like PS5 games on your PS4 using a DualShock.
Oh god, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
So that's like another sort of, whatever. But so what do you think of Sackboy, James? How much have you played?
See, I've barely played it, and I've only, because at the moment, you see, I've played Astrobot, which I platinumed as well, and I've been mostly playing Miles Morales the whole the rest of the time. I played it a bit with Asher. I've only played it in co-op, and we played it for maybe about, I don't know, half an hour or so. And I mean, I liked it so far. I mean, I need to give it more time before I can decide whether it's good or not.
Early days, isn't
because
it?
it's really early. I mean, Asher thought it was all right, but he wasn't like massively into it. I mean, we did about 3 levels, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to go and do something else now." I was like, "Okay, that's fine."
That is not a good sign. How old's Asher?
He's 7. But then the thing is it's also, I mean, once the streamer that he watches is playing it, then I think he'll suddenly become a lot more interested.
Yeah, totally.
Is the thing.
100%.
I mean, at the moment, he's not that interested in the PS5 in general, and it's because the person he watches hasn't got one yet.
Why are you refusing to name them?
Oh, what, Brian? It's yeah.
Oh, he's mentioned it before on the podcast.
Yeah. He's a big fan of Brian, and
currently Brian's only playing Resident Evil 7.
Yeah,
so he's massively into that at the moment.
Mate, it's all about Zach Scott, but Zach Scott's one of those guys that plays like loads of Nintendo games. Harry watches everything, and then he will play like PT, and you're like, well, hold on, mate. I don't know, like, why are you doing that?
But no, I'm definitely gonna go back to Sackboy.
Yeah,
I just as James said, I was hammering Astrobot and then playing a bit of Miles.
My plan is I want to finish Miles Morales, and then I'm going to go to Sackboy, and I'm going to hit that and play all of that, and then I'm going to go back to Assassin's Creed. That's what I'm planning to do.
Let's talk about Miles. So I've only played the first hour or so. Mm-hmm. The opening cutscene and things you do were amazing, and it reminded me why I loved Spider-Man on PS4. I guess that one of the first things you see is just how gorgeous this game looks.
Mm.
It just looks absolutely stunning. You can't
the
believe
ray tracing stuff really makes a difference, doesn't it?
It really does.
It really does.
I've said in the group, it's definitely probably like the best looking game I've played on a console. It looks incredible. Like it really, really does look incredible.
More impressive than Red Dead.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, you played that on the one though, didn't you?
Yeah.
I forgot you played it in Big Book mode.
But then also, I think the good thing about this is also, see, I played Spider-Man like over a year or so ago, and so coming into this, it felt fresh again, like playing it. I didn't feel like, I think if I'd have just finished Spider-Man, I think I'd feel a bit more sort of like, I've done all this, before
Fatigued.
this feels a lot more. Like, and
the stuff that you're actually doing is quite similar to the main game, is it?
Yeah, it's very similar, but it definitely feels a lot more streamlined. I mean, there's definitely less to do, but it feels like they figured out what was really good in Spider-Man. It's like, we're just going to do loads of that.
And I kind of feel it's less of a problem because what people might not know is that if you haven't played Spider-Man, it is way more story-based and story-focused than these games usually are. I mean, you do have these side missions, but there's so much of it that's just pushing you through the story, long, lengthy cutscenes, story-based missions. I wouldn't be going into Miles Morales thinking, I can't wait to see the new mission types. I'd be like, I can't wait to see where the story goes.
Yeah.
And so that I think is less of an issue for this.
And that's what's really good about this, because Miles is a great character, and it feels, the story feels a lot more focused in this one as well. I mean, probably because it is a shorter game. I mean, I don't know how far I'm in. I think I've played it probably for about 4 or 5 hours or so. And so I feel like I'm probably about halfway, 2/3 of the way, or sort of, through it.
That sounds about right from what I've heard.
But it's still got all of the...
it's about a 10-hour campaign.
Yeah, 8 to 10, I think I've heard.
It's about that amount. Although it depends on... Because I'm also doing all the side stuff as much as possible as well, because that's been great. Like, it's... I mean, even as with Spider-Man, even just doing the stuff like, finding like all the boxes you've got to open and things like that, it's fun because it's just nice to... cut around the city. That's the thing. And the new abilities that you get as Miles do like change things up quite a lot, especially in terms of combat and that kind of thing.
You got the cat.
I absolutely love that punch. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
like the stun punch, whatever it's called.
I like that punch. Have you got the cat thing yet?
What was that?
You got the cat. The cat.
Oh, I haven't got a cat in the bag. No, I haven't.
No.
Oh, that looks so good.
But it's also got
too good.
You've got like how you can you can go invisible and stuff like that, which makes like the stealth stuff is good because it's like you don't it's really it's really well implemented in this as well.
Oh man. That was the weakest part of Spider-Man. I hated that in the main game.
But that's why I've not had to do that in this. Like I've only had to do it once when I had to try and find some evidence, and all I did was
had to do this.
Yes, okay. But you did it. Yeah, but it's like seriously, it takes like a minute like that. It's not like one of those.
Yeah, I know. But then that's what annoys me. That's what annoyed me about the stealth in Spider-Man. It was easy, and it wasn't a problem. It was just, I was doing it just thinking, what is the point in that? What is the point in making me do this?
Yeah.
Like, as I said, it annoyed me every time you met, what's her name?
Mary Jane. And you took control of Mary Jane. It was like, okay, I'm going to be pushing over boxes. And like, you meet her and she goes, you won't believe what happened to me. And it was like 20 minutes earlier. And I was like, could you not just tell me? Could you just tell me? I sneaked in and I saw this. Brilliant. Fine. And then I saw something on the floor. And I walked round it. I was all right.
There was a toolbox. So I pushed it over, and the guy went over there, and I went round the other way. Brilliant.
So what it was, is he stood here, and he was facing this way, and I needed to get...
Yeah, and then they got the Miles Morales stealth bits, and I was like, oh, you can hack stuff. Okay, interesting. No, it's just basically pushing over a toolbox, but this time, the toolbox is a drone.
But you see, that's the thing, because in this there's none of that. Like they've removed all of that. There's nothing like that. The only stealth bit I had to do was where there was like a crime scene and the police were like, we don't want you to have a look at the evidence or whatever because we don't trust you. And so it's like, okay, I've got to find a way to have a look at the evidence without them seeing that I'm looking at the evidence. And that was it. That's the only bit of stealth I've had to do for the whole thing. I mean, if you choose to, when you're engaging like enemies and stuff, you can do it more stealthily. You can like try and hang people up and all that kind of thing, or you can just go in and just punch people a lot, and that also works. It's really up to you, how you want to play. And it's just I don't know, it just feels so good. It feels so good to play. And so
you playing back in that game.
Are you playing in performance mode or pretty mode?
That's the thing, because I was playing it in fidelity mode like most of the time. And then just before we recorded...
Infidelity mode, that sounds a bit...
Go on.
Joke, James, carry on.
Okay.
No, I wanted to show you working to class, actually, Sean.
Yeah.
So James said he was playing in space fidelity mode, but it sounded like he said I was playing infidelity mode.
Do you know what? That was
it's funny when you explain it, isn't it?
It was a very good joke.
That was quite good.
Yeah, you are the best.
Yeah. Okay.
James.
So anyway, so I've been playing in that mode for most of the time, mostly because it just looks incredible. You know, especially with the ray tracing and the whole thing, it just looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, the advice I've heard is don't play 60 frames per second mode to start with. Play fidelity mode and then switch to 60 frames because as beautiful as it looks in fidelity mode, it's hard to go back to 30 frames after you've been playing at 60.
Well, this is the thing, because just before we recorded, when me and Matt were testing out the the party stuff, I thought, okay, I'm going to see what it's like now. And then you put it on and it's insane. Like the difference it makes, it's like suddenly, the character is like moving about so fast and it's just like everything's so smooth and everything. But then I still kind of like the fidelity mode because it still just looks so nice, and it's like, I know we're not going to.
So shit that we can't have both.
Yeah, but we're not going to. We're not going to. And it's like, at the moment, I'm still happy with sticking with it just looking amazing because that's okay. And,
because the fact is, like, snowing in New York, there's you see all like the snow everywhere, and it's like there's so much detail. It's just crazy how much detail you're seeing, and like switching to 60 frames, it felt incredibly smooth and fast, but I felt like I was definitely missing something by not having the city look like it was.
So
but I need to play more of that. I made like an hour or so in, but it was a great start. And I played that yesterday and the day before, but a bit more yesterday. And Elodie watched, and then we watched Spider-Verse after that. And I woke up this morning, Elodie was watching Spider-Verse again.
I watched Spider-Verse. It's all right. I did. I didn't.
Dave.
I watched it again, yesterday, and then again this morning a little bit, and it's like, this is still such a stunning film.
What was it? Harry and I watched it after I finished Spider-Man because he watched most of that game with me, and I thought it was okay. I don't get the people going nuts over it, but then I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan, am I? So I guess
no. I mean, I wasn't, but I played the PS4 game. I was like, what a game. I love being back in it, and I'm excited to play more. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think it's only like 8 to 10 hours, so probably hopefully get it finished in a week. But I'm so glad to be back in that universe. It's fucking great.
All right, sounds like
the game I played is Bugsnax. James, you played it.
Can't wait to hear about this.
See, I played a bit, but actually the children, like my kids, have played it much more than I've played it. Like they played a lot of it. And they're very impressed and really, really are enjoying it a lot. But what did you think?
Good? Yeah, are you worried though? Because all I've heard is that later on in that game gets a little bit dark.
I mean, I know it probably will. I mean, the fact at the moment is that you're feeding bugs to the people on the island, and then their arm changes into a strawberry or a fry or a burger or whatever.
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay, right now, in like the early 2 or 3 hours I played, I'm meeting different people. They say, I want to catch a bunga, which is a burger-shaped bug snack. And each of these bug snacks you see, you have like a little thing to scan it, and it tells you what they like or don't like. And all of them have certain traits. So a bunga loves ketchup. You can pick up ketchup from these plants in the area, and you have a slingshot. So you pick up ketchup and you can basically slingshot ketchup to certain places. And what you do is you also have a trap you can set up. So you throw the trap somewhere nearby. In a bunga's case, you can basically shoot ketchup on the trap, and the bunga will just like go bunga, 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 and run over to the trap, and you've got it. But there are other different ones where they need to do certain things. Another mission later on is like you can catch a bunga again, but you can't use the same technique. You've got to have them knocked out or dazed. So to do that, at first I was squirting ketchup on the wall, and the bunga would run over to it, but nothing would happen. I was like, that's a bit weird. I really thought a bunga would just bomb over to the wall and knock itself out, and I can catch it. That wasn't working. I would spray ketchup everywhere. Nothing's really working. But I saw a second one a bit further away, and I thought, okay, maybe if I spray them both, they'll run into each other. So I had to lead one from one part of the map to another part. I had to catch up from another part to get the second one. And basically, they bumped into each other. They're knocked out. I threw the trap down and I caught it. And there are other little cool things. There's another Bugsnax, which I can't remember the name of it, but it hides in bushes. It doesn't really leave bushes unless something else hits it. So again, I shot ketchup over to that bush. The bunga smashed into the bush, and the other one burst out, and I caught it. So far, it's about trying to work out the traits of these different Bugsnax and how you can catch them. Ultimately, you get a mission from someone saying, "I want these." You go catch them. You feed them to the person. You move on.
Is it fun?
So it's quite simplistic so far. Like I said, I made like 2 or so hours in. One of the criticisms I've heard is people said, I really hope it gets more complex with loads of different things happening at once, and you've got to really have a bit of a chain of do this to do that, to do this to do that. I hear it doesn't really go to that complex level that some people might want.
Fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, so far, it's like pleasant, it's like funny. There's definitely a hint of darkness to it. I'm not sure if it ever fully gets there. I don't know because I'm really very early on, but there's definitely a hint of this isn't just a kids game or a game which is light and fluffy and these animals are like burgers and fries and strawberries. There's definitely an undercurrent of what's the
some
real
of us have been
meaning of
saying
this?
that for months, mate.
Yeah, at first I've heard of it. So I'm enjoying it for that. It's simple and it was free, so I think I'll definitely keep playing. I think Eddie would rather be playing Sackboy than playing Bugsnax, but I'll definitely keep playing it. I reckon it'd be quite fun. And it is quite funny. Even me and Eddie trying to work out how do we get this bunga and what does that mean. And each time you see a new Bugsnax, that's quite funny. That's it's a play on fries. It's a play on this and that. And the dialogue's quite sharp. It's quite funny. It's pleasant to read and pleasant to see something new in the world and what are they going to be after, what do they want. And I'm enjoying it. It's simple, but the mechanics are fun for the moment.
Well, yeah, okay. As I said, Rachel and Ash are really liking it, but yeah, I need to go back to it. I sent you a recording, Dave. Did you not get that? Or did you just ignore it?
I obviously, my life has been hell for the past 3 or 4 days, so I've been missing a lot of stuff, but I listened to it this morning and I really liked it, of Rachel's opinions on Bugsnax. Yeah. And then I went, I'll have to reply to that and say I really liked it, but then suddenly I was chasing Amazon about parcels not being delivered and, and things that I need. So that's been my life recently, but I did really enjoy that. I wish we could do something with that, but
nothing to do with it, is it?
Yeah, it was my own private podcast that I got to listen to. I quite enjoyed it.
So is that everything you played on PS5 then, James?
I think so. I've played. Apart from just the VR stuff, which I tried, which that was it really. It's just the stuff
you not played. You not played some PS4 stuff, no? Using that, what is it? PS Plus Classics.
I've added all them to my library.
Yeah, me too. I did that.
So I've done that, but I haven't played. I did download Days Gone because I heard that was 60 frames, and that was a game I definitely wanted to go back to. So it's on the system.
How's that capacity holding up?
It's fine. I've not noticed.
Yeah, anything. I've only got like 4 or 5 games installed so far. I haven't noticed an issue.
See, that's the thing though, because
is it easy to check that?
Yeah, it's just like
the percentage
like PS4, you go to storage on the main settings and check it.
Okay.
But you see, the thing is, I feel because of the way that I play games on PlayStation, I don't think it's going to be such a problem for me as it is on Xbox. Because with Xbox, for my Xbox, I mostly use that to play multiplayer games with other people. And though things are constantly in rotation, things change, this kind of thing. Whereas with the PlayStation, it's mostly my single-player game, my single-player machine that I play stuff on, and I'm only going to have like 1 or 2 things on there at a time that I'm playing at that time. And then when I'm done, I'll just delete them and then I can re-download them later.
Also with Xbox, you've got Game Pass games you're constantly downloading.
Exactly, yeah. It's a different thing,
yeah.
I don't care so much about the storage space on this as I did on Xbox.
Okay, cool.
All right, one thing that I noticed today, there was a Miles Morales update. It downloaded the update really quick. That's awesome. And I was thinking, I wonder what the updating is like. Because the thing with PlayStation that's always annoyed me is that you're like, okay, got a massive update for a game, God of War, whatever. It's like, okay, well, the download might take a while. And then you forget, after it downloads this, then has that stupid thing where it copies the download.
God, is it still do that?
Did that for Miles.
Of course it still does that, yeah.
I'll watch this because it's an SSD. It'll probably fly by. And it was like 28%. 29%, 30%. I was like, I kind of thought it'd be quicker than this.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying.
Whatever.
The other thing that I've heard a lot from people is that their consoles have been hard locking on certain games, and Miles Morales seems to be a bad one for it. Have you not experienced any of that?
I've had nothing like that.
Well, I mean, you've not played it much, have you?
I've had some crashes on Sackboy and on Astros. I've probably had 2 on each.
Really?
And I was like, what is this? Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty common problem.
I had one crash, and that was on when I was playing with Blood and Truth. And the first time I started up Blood and Truth, it crashed. Like, it was, it all went like mad, like the display and all that kind of thing.
Were you running that off the internal SSD or?
Yeah, that was because I'm not using an external drive, and it's.
Right,
I mean, from
okay,
what
gotcha.
I've read online, a lot of the problems seem to be connected to having external drives connected.
Yeah, but obviously that's not the case with Miles Morales,
Yeah, exactly,
is it? Because that can only be run off the SSD. But,
overall, my first week or so of PlayStation 5, I've absolutely loved it. I didn't think I didn't really anticipate loving it this much, but I think a game like Astrobot, where you just love the game and it kind of makes you love PlayStation history and stuff, like you have that as well. And I've loved the pad. It really has genuinely felt new and exciting. And I said in the last week's show, the Xbox Series X will undoubtedly be the console I play way more than my PS5. That's where I play online. Or Game Pass, that would probably be my main console for most things, but this has felt really exciting and new and different, and the experiences where, yes, I could have played Miles on PS4, but there's games like Demon's Souls, which I haven't got yet. I'm excited to get that, and the pad and Astrobot, it has just felt new and exciting, and like this is a really exciting console launch that I wanted. I didn't really get with Xbox, because that's not the strategy they're going for. I understand that, but this... I'm so glad I've got this. I'm so excited about it.
I think that's what helped me the most in my roller coaster of emotions throughout the week. That I want a PS5. If I could afford it right now, I'd buy one. Right? There's no doubt about that. I need furniture first before I start doing stuff like that. But
I was big enough for the whole family to sit on, Dave.
That's a good point. We could double it up as a table. And look at James. I know you can't see him on the podcast, but James is sneering at the screen there. Look, I want a PS5, but I was thinking, I'd play Sackboy, I'd play Astrobot, I'd play Miles Morales, but after that, it'd be sitting there doing nothing. So
how's that any difference to the Series X, though?
Because I will be playing the Series X every night on a regular basis.
I know exactly, but that's because you're still playing the same games that you would have been playing on your One X. Do you not see what I mean?
That's not the point. No, that's not the point.
Why is that not the point?
Because the Series X I use every night.
But the One X you were using every night.
Correct.
Okay, but it's the same games.
Yeah, but if it's a better experience...
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. It's not about having the better experience. It's that all my mates are playing Xbox.
But you could still have done that with the One X.
I mean, but the Series X is a better experience than the One X.
Oh, come on! Yeah, I mean, this is like saying you don't need to upgrade your phone because it does the same thing.
Yeah,
like it's way better.
No, but what the point I'm making, right, is I agree with you. I'm just saying, I'm putting this in another way. Buying the PlayStation, right? There's a reason at the moment to buy that machine, right? I feel, because you're getting a new experience with the DualSense and stuff like that, with Astrobot and all that kind of stuff, right? Whereas with the Xbox, I don't feel that you're getting a very new experience yet.
Well, you are, because you're playing these games. Like, we'll get to Assassin's Creed in a bit, but all I had to do was look at the difference between Watch Dogs, which isn't a good game, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying it's a good game. You just got to look at the difference between it running on a One X and running on a Series X. And what am I going to do? Am I going to buy an improved version of a console I will use every day, or a PS5 now, use it for a month, and then it will sit there doing nothing for ages until the next Sony game comes out? So what I'm saying, this is personal to me. This is not an opinion that I'm saying people should adopt or will agree with. But what I'm saying is that when I was going through this roller coaster of emotions and thinking, do I just fucking buy one and deal with the consequences afterwards? I kind of thought, actually, I got to the point and go, do you know what? Astrobot's still going to be there when I buy one next year. Yeah. And Miles Morales is still going to be there when I buy it next year. and that controller's still going to do that wicked stuff for those games. So I'm at a point now where I'm at peace with my decision. I would have been insane to have bought a PS5 over an Xbox Series X. It would have been mad, because I would have been playing my mates on the older it just makes no sense. Whereas
but you're still playing in 4K on the One X.
Matt, so you've got to see Watch Dogs on the One X versus the Series X. You've got to see the loading times on.
Watch Dogs not a good example of a reason to upgrade.
It's an excellent example. It's not a good game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No, listen to me. It's not a good game, but it shows the benefits of getting a more powerful Xbox. And when the games, we've got next gen Destiny coming out, we've got next gen FIFA coming out, and they're games that I play on a regular basis, especially FIFA, because I'm assuming, and I think I'm right in saying this, you can't do cross-platform play between the older generations of consoles and the next gen thing. So all of my mates getting Series X's, they're going to be playing FIFA on that. I'd have been insane to have got.
When's that patch coming out, by the way? Sorry,
it's December 3rd. Is it some of the?
Oh no, it's the 8th, isn't it? 8th.
Yeah, it's the end of next week, I think. Actually, it's soon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome.
It's pretty
okay, exciting.
But like so for me personally, after wanting one insanely throughout last week, I've sort of come to peace with that now and go, do you know what? Next year I'll buy one. I'll have those games to play. I'll really enjoy them, and there'll be more Sony games on the way. So that's good.
And that's the thing, because a lot of this is about. You see, this is why the whole console wars thing is kind of nonsense, because it all depends really on where you're going to play those games and what kind of games you want to play as well. And the reason I feel happy about having bought the PS5 is, okay, I've got these really good new games that are coming, but I've also got a whole ton of other stuff that I was going to play on PS4 that I've still got that I'm still going to play on the PS5. It's still.
If the saves transfer, okay.
Well, they will. That's stuff.
I mean, that's weird hearing you say that the console wars isn't important. It's like the general of an army saying that this is kind of pointless, isn't it?
No, but you know what I mean. It is all down to like what you want, what you feel, and all that kind of thing about stuff, and who you're playing with.
Absolutely. Console wars are just people trying to justify their purchases. That's all it is. Making them feel good about the money that they've spent.
Is this the last week where we're going to be doing this whole Sony versus Microsoft stuff?
Almost certainly not.
It's been going on for a long time.
No, totally not. Nope, absolutely
because
not.
Because there's going to be all the reports, isn't there, about what doesn't work on which ones and what all.
True.
The frame rate on this one is not as good, and all that kind of
thing.
stuff.
3 months ago, I've had that with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There was like a Digital Foundry. I think it's Digital Foundry. If not them, there was another channel I watched where there's like, here's the comparisons of the PS5 version of Valhalla versus Xbox, and PS5 was better. And people were saying, like, why is this for the Xbox
better
25% more powerful? And then people saying, oh, no, actually it's because developers didn't really get full Series X dev kits until later, blah, 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 all that bollocks.
Yeah, but better in what ways? Because, like, how does the ray tracing work on the two systems? I should watch that video, actually, because
I'll send you a link.
That was what was interesting me.
I think it's more like it must be consistent frame rate. Anyway, whatever. Someone's going to probably email in and say I was wrong about that, but whatever. It doesn't matter. What I am saying, I haven't know what both. I'm just so incredibly excited about what's going to come next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm incredibly excited for having a super fast Xbox where I know loading's going to take 2 seconds and the updates on top are easy and quick, and I don't have to worry about saves, and it's just there, and Game Pass and stuff, and then we've got all these 19 studios or however many Xbox have bought, and next 2 to 5 years we're hoping to see the fruits of the labours of all that.
For sure, and you've got to remember that the games, that not only the console, but the games that are coming out for them at the moment, from third party and first party developers, have been made during a global pandemic, and that's easy to write off, but it's clearly going to have an effect on every type of development of software.
But also they're made to work on the base PS4 and the base Xbox. In 2 to 3 years' time, when they're like, okay, no, we're just
phasing them out.
PS5, we're just Series X, and Series S, that's going to be very different.
Phil Spencer looking at his watch going, when did I say? I said 2 years. How
did
long
I say
have I
a
got
year?
left?
I think I said a year, didn't I? Yeah. And then on the PlayStation side, just excited for what Naughty Dog do next. What the next God of War. What the next Horizon, new IPs. I like I said, my Xbox has been my main console since I got the One X, and that's not going to change now. As much as I love the PlayStation in this early week, but the most cherished experiences I've had have been playing Last of Us 1 and 2 and God of War and those really big, huge Sony IPs, and I'm still immensely excited to see what this console is going to
fuck me, what a Naughty Dog going to do with this?
Yeah. It's just so exciting.
And then I was thinking the other day, like, what the fuck are Rockstar going to do with these consoles?
Yeah.
It's going to be...
they've already done it. GTA 5
for this generation. Well,
they're re-releasing that. Yeah,
I'm way more excited now for this generation than I was at this point of the last generation. Because we had Xbox One, PS4. I mean, they were both powerful, but it feels like these are both much more powerful than they were at the time. PlayStation has its pad and stuff, and I'm just I think we're in a much better position for a really exciting generation.
Come on, now. Xbox One had Connect. That was
exactly.
It was
good point. Yeah, you are the controller.
Forget. I mean, you look at the launch games for the PS4 and compare them to the launch games of the PS5, and it's no contest, is there?
No, the PS5 launch has been much stronger, I would say, than PS4.
100%, yeah.
What did PS4 even have? I can't remember.
No, I mean, you look at the games that I thought you were going to say that they were, that it wasn't as good, but no.
Why did you think that?
The way you said it.
Well, didn't wasn't it Killzone Shadowfall? And everyone was going, no, actually, Resogun's really good, and it was. But
Resogun was good.
Okay.
Xbox had Loco Cycle, for goodness sake. But no, it's going to be an exciting generation. I can't wait to see what happens next. Really.
I still keep meaning to play Rise, Son of Rome. I've got to play that.
Do it.
Why?
It'd be amazing on the S.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Matt, you've got Super Mario Bros. 2 down. Do we need to talk about that for long?
No. I mean, I have been streaming the Mario games. First one, loved. I got, it was tough at points. Second one, started saying, what the hell is this stuff? Streamed it for 2 Sundays now, and I think I'm done with it. I just can't be bothered with it anymore. On Sunday stream, I'm
proud of you. I am proud of you.
No, I'm never going to forget this. I hate quitting anything.
Why?
You shouldn't, though.
I just don't like it.
Wait, honestly, hold on.
I still will play.
3 years ago, you used to quit every game you played. What's changed?
No, because that was different. Anyway.
Right, okay. It's just different.
Sunday night, I was like, this is so shit. Am I really going to come back on Sunday and do this again? It was just frustrating. It wasn't fun. It didn't feel like a Mario game. And people were like, I mean, I guess what helped in some ways, all the chat were like, do not play this again, please.
Yeah.
Which,
this is why you should have played Lost Levels first. At least to have had a taste of it.
Absolutely not.
No, because at least with that, your skills were good enough.
James.
His skills. His skills were good enough after finishing like the first one to at least have had a go at it, to see what it was like. And at least it feels like an actual Mario game,
They weren't.
Yeah, I just
wasn't Matt, that's not having a pop at you. They weren't. That Lost Levels is a joke.
It's not. Come on, it's not. It's
right. Okay, Matt. I don't want to spoil it, but are you going to play Lost Levels?
Probably not. That's right.
There's warp pipes that take you back to previous worlds.
There's also mushrooms that kill you as well. Is the other thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's awful. But the exciting thing is,
and I thought
you're about to start one of the best.
Yeah, I'm going to play Super Mario. Because I was thinking, I was saying on stream, and I said to you in the WhatsApp group after, I was like, can I really quit Super Mario Bros. 2 and it's like, I allow myself to go on to 3? Surely I don't get to have pudding if I haven't finished dinner. But, enough people in the chat said, and you said, just fuck it, just move on. And everyone says the third one is incredible. Yeah. So,
Look, you had that moment. You had that moment with Super Mario Bros. 2, and that's all you needed.
Yeah.
To look
it's
at it and go,
frustrating
what the fuck?
It's a curio, but you don't have to. Yeah.
So this Sunday I'm going to play Mario Bros. 3, and I'm really immensely excited about that. That's Super Mario 2 done. And,
there was that age-old argument, isn't it? That some people prefer 3 and some people prefer World, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
Is that a thing? Or are you thinking of World?
There is an
Island?
argument about that. Definitely.
Is that okay?
But they're both crackers. But I don't think World's on this.
No, it's not.
This isn't All Stars plus World, but World is on the SNES.
Where do you stand on this, Mac, Dave? Because for me, it's World. I still think World is better than 3.
I've always said World as well, but but I can see why people say free as well. So I'm not like,
So is World not playable on Switch? It's not on this.
No, it is. No,
It's not part of All Stars, but it's its own.
It's just a separate.
Cool.
It's just a separate thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll play free on Sunday. I'm excited about that. That's all I'm playing this week.
James, did you have anything else?
Only Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you're going to talk about that, I think, as well, yeah?
I'm looking forward to talking about it, yeah.
You've not been playing Andromeda, James?
Say again?
You've not been playing Andromeda?
No, I've stopped that for the moment.
Drop that.
It's I stopped it because of the PlayStation.
He had to stop that because he started a rerun of the Phoenix Wright series. So,
if only.
Go on. So how far into it are you, James? Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I'm not anywhere near as far into it as you are because I've only played it for probably about 2 or 3 hours. I think. I'm not very far.
Oh, so have you left for a new location yet?
No, I've not done that yet.
Okay,
I'm close to that, I think, but yeah.
Have you seen the title screen yet?
No, I haven't.
That is mad. That is mad. Literally 4 hours after I started playing, the title screen comes up. It was bizarre.
At least it's not like Death Stranding though. Like they just keep showing the title scenes, repeatedly.
Don't slag off Death Stranding.
So I'm like 6 hours in, and I've never liked an Assassin's Creed game, and admittedly, I haven't played that many of them, but I've played ones that people were going, no, this one's really good, like Black Flag, and I hated that. And I played, was it Odyssey was the one I played?
Origins and Odyssey.
Origins was Egypt, and then Odyssey was Greece. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yes, so I played the Greece one. Yeah, I played Odyssey, right? And I hated that. And then everyone was going, Valhalla's great, and I was thinking, I'm not so sure. Started playing it, and I was like, no, this is notably better than the ones that I've played previously, and that is largely down to the story. Like, the story's basic as fuck, revenge, betrayal, all of that sort of stuff, all in the opening cutscene. And you go, okay, I get why I hate these people, and not only that, the voice acting and the writing is a huge step up from previous Assassin's Creed games that I've played. Some of it is a bit cringy, but it's nowhere near as bad as the previous one. Certainly nowhere near as bad as Watch Dogs. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far. I think it looks absolutely incredible in places. It's got a combat system that is basic and a little bit just. It's weird. It feels like there's a lot of quality in some areas and other areas just need a big brush up, it certainly doesn't introduce the mechanics of an Assassin's Creed game that well. There was a moment where I walked into a village and I did my sense thing. You press the right stick in and you can detect stuff around you and it highlights things. And loads of people around me were like red. And so I was like, oh my God, there's enemies all around me. I started hitting them and killing them and realised that actually they weren't hostile unless you kick off with them. And I assume that if you've played Assassin's Creed games before, you just know that. But I thought they were enemies straight away, so I went in there with my axe, like chopping heads off. And the whole village turned on me. What was that phrase that Kane and Rince love? Ludonarrative dissonance.
Yeah.
Right. This is the ultimate for that. It's hilarious, and it's probably like actually reflecting what Vikings are like. But there's a bit where you're setting up a camp, and someone in your camp used to have a shop, and now they don't have a shop, and they go to you, look, I need materials, I need money, I need stuff. We need to build a shop so I can actually start work in this village. And your character's like, all right, better go to a village and kill everyone and nick their shit. It's just like, honestly, the stuff you do, as you're doing it, you're going, why are we just rocking up? Like, that's the main part of the game. Just rocking up to villages and chopping heads off and taking
just
their stuff.
Smashing it and pillaging everything you can find.
You do end up thinking, those Vikings were a bit out of order, weren't they?
I was going to say, is there like an actual "are we the baddies" moment, or is this all just like, yeah, fuck it?
the first town you make, I thought this was hilarious. Ravenshaw or something, they name it, and it's when you're in England, right? So I thought, I wonder if that's a real place. So I looked it up, and it is. It's a real place with the same name in the same spot that you are in the map in the game, right? And I thought, that's really clever. And then I read that Ubisoft said, oh no, that's a massive coincidence. We just called it that, and then we saw there was a village. We were notified that there was a village of the same name in that area, and I thought, are you trying to get round some sort of weird lawsuit here? Yeah. Because there's no way that that's true. Yeah. There's no way that in the same location.
Because there's loads of other towns named after real ones, right? There are recreations of real towns.
Yeah, I've seen like Doncaster and stuff.
Yeah. Mate, London's in it. I can't wait to go to London just to have a little look around and see what that looks like back then. But yeah, I think a large portion of...
Dave, sorry, I don't think the den's going to be in it, by the way.
It fucking better be, mate.
I know you're doing Watch Dogs and the Getaway. I'll go there, small flats. No, then they won't be in this one.
Why? It wasn't that long ago.
That's the road I was walked down. No, it's not.
Harry guessed that this was during 1666 when he was watching me playing it for 5 minutes, just wandering around. I won't chopping heads off. But he was like, is this during 1666? Because he's learning about the Great Fire of London at the moment at school. And I was like, a little bit before that, mate. But yeah, I think... Look, part of it is the fact that when it looks nice, it looks utterly incredible, and I've been enjoying that. And part of it is that the story is very basic, toned down. There's less of this, the brotherhood, and the it doesn't go into like I felt whenever I played the game as who was like the big character in the early Assassin's Creed games, James?
Desmond.
That's you.
Desmond, right? During that period, it felt like I could not wrap my head around the history of the games, and this one certainly feels like a standalone thing. But I say that there is a bit where you go back to the future, and you kind of like, if you did, you're going to make a Martin McFly joke.
Yeah, that's still got that. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that stuff was. I haven't played these games, but I had heard or assumed that stuff's just not in it at all these days.
No, what's great?
What's great is that if you didn't know about the Assassin's Creed history and you just started playing this, like, it doesn't explain it. It's just a cutscene in the future, and you're just like, what? What?
And that stuff is dialed down, right, compared to what it was.
Oh, gotcha.
Even by sort of.
Because I have not played it. That seemed like the most interesting stuff. Like, wow, what are they going to go to the future? No,
it never was interesting. It was it felt so disjointed from the main narrative, from the ones that I'd played, and admittedly not a massive fan, so I could be talking out my arse here.
The big problem I always felt with that was it always really like broke the immersion of you being in this historical setting, and it felt because it's not a simulation as such, but it is a simulation that you were playing, in most of those earlier games,
isn't it?
Yeah, it still says like desynchronized when you die, and
that really broke the feeling of like you're in this historical setting. It's like I didn't like that at all. I don't think it really works with that.
But yeah, I would say it's a very average game being propped up by a very decent story and really like a great setting and wonderful visuals. The only problem that I have, I think I don't have this problem, but I think certainly some people will, is that I absolutely hate the character and the clan because they're just horrible. They're just bang out of order. You know what I mean? Oh no,
They're just horrible boys.
I need some shoes. I've run out of shoes. Better go and slaughter a village then. Hold on, I'll be right back with some shoes. But these shoes still have feet in them. Don't worry about it.
So what, are you literally just murdering innocents? Surely not.
Well, kind of. I mean, they're armies that you're fighting, like the Saxons that you're fighting, but you are just rocking up on their land and then slaughtering them. Like, it's not like they've antagonised you. Yeah. Sometimes there are missions where they have, like, taken over a village and you're going to, take the village back. But 9 times out of 10, you're just rocking up to their little town and hammering them. It's just like
happened quite a lot throughout history.
I know it's accurate. It's just
100%. But as a piece of entertainment, and you're playing as this character, there's no. I suppose it would be bullshit if he had a conscience. If he was "Hey man, this is not cool."
It's just a strange setting to pick.
Let's talk it out.
Yeah, it's just a weird setting to pick, like, because that stuff is unavoidable. Certainly for the setting, it's just I don't know. Seems odd. Like every previous Assassin's Creed game, it's like you've got, even when Black Flag, for example, you're a bit of a rogue, but you end up doing the right thing or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, it just seems odd.
This one you're chopping heads off. Yeah. Just to nick their shit.
What do you think of the combat, Dave? Because I was really not very impressed by that at all. I thought the combat was
serviceable.
Okay.
The combat's serviceable. It does the job. I mean, you're not enjoying the fighting, but you're not hating it either. You're just getting through it. I mean, some of the weapons, one of the weapons I've got at the moment is just awful to use. I don't know why I'm using it. Well, I know why I'm using it because it's more powerful than the other ones, but it's like, I don't understand who thought this was a good idea. So with your axe, it's fine. You press the button and you chop away. But I got this like mace thing at the moment, and what you need to do is your first hit takes a longer time to wind up.
Right.
And then once you've hit once, you can hit in rapid succession, right? It's like a minigun, I guess. It's that sort of thing. But the problem is the animation to wind it up is way longer than the attack animations for the characters. So there's certain ones, like I did a boss fight with it, and I was like, I have not got the time to wind this up to get my first hit in before they've activated their attack animation. I've been hit. So it's like, or had to dodge, which breaks the animation in the first place. So it's like, that's really just frustrating. But I'm going to crack on with it because I'm enjoying it on some level. The upgrade tree is hilarious as well because you don't even really look at what you're upgrading. You get like points constantly, and you're just like, fuck it, that one. That's making it more powerful. Fine. And it feels like I can just mainline it. So what's the point in all these RPG elements? It feels like the RPG elements are there to make it feel like an RPG and not to have a genuine benefit of what you're doing. You see no connection with that stuff. But do you know what? I'm enjoying it at the moment, and I'm going to keep playing it. So it's doing something right. It's certainly better than
even
Watch
if it's
Dogs.
like a 60, 70-hour core mission campaign, you'll still...
I ain't going to get to the end of it if it's that.
Oh, okay.
But I'll keep playing it until I get tired out.
I'm planning to go back to it as soon as I'm done with all this PlayStation stuff. I'm going to go back and play it, I think, because
yeah, for sure. It's got
what
a
are
dice
you guys playing
game.
it on then? Are
James
you
should love
both
that.
Xbox or?
Sorry, Sean, what do you say?
What's that?
I'm playing
Sean?
Xbox.
So what are you both playing it on?
Xbox.
Series X and
Okay.
I'm playing
I was
Series
just wondering
S.
how it behaves on the Series S. Is it good?
It's fine. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, to me, it looked really good.
Pixel art, isn't it?
I mean,
we were
I'm playing
saying
in 4K and
cool.
I think, is it 30 or is it 60?
I think it's
I don't
60
actually
on the Series X, isn't it?
Yeah,
on the
and
Series S, it's 30.
What's funny is that I started
Actually,
playing
no,
it.
I think it's 4K 30 on X, but 60 on PS5. I think that was where the differences were.
Right, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I started it when it was ready to start, so the full thing hadn't downloaded, but it was ready to start, and I was like, this really is not as good looking as people were saying. I mean, it looks okay, but it doesn't look great. And then when it fully downloaded it, I rebooted the game. I was like, oh, okay, that's way better.
The graphics are in now.
The graphics have downloaded now.
Graphics.
For sure. Yeah, which is funny, actually, because I thought, with that ready-to-start stuff, it's usually 10 minutes or the opening cutscene, and then you have to wait for the rest of it.
It's the menu, or it's like a demo game on FIFA or something, isn't it?
This one, it looked like it downloaded the game, and the rest of the download was the graphics. So, that's how it felt, because I played for ages before I had to stop. Okay, so that's that. Should I continue with the rest of my list?
Go on then.
Still playing Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, still absolutely loving it, the multiplayer in that. Really enjoying it. There's some weird stuff though. I played. It seems to be consistent with one map where the game suddenly just drops resolution and goes really laggy, and it looks like a PS3 game. Which I know variable resolution is a thing on the Series X, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's part of it. I'd love to know if it does it on the PS5. But it's certainly a bug that needs looking at. But when that game works, I'm really, really enjoying it. The maps are hit and miss, but I like one of the complaints that I've read from usual COD players is that there's not enough maps. But I'm appreciating that because I'm learning the maps. I still think there's an argument for that. it's why I loved the Crucible in Destiny so much when that first started, because there were so few maps in that that you really got the handle on them. You know what I mean? And you felt that the whole community got the handle on them a lot quicker. And I certainly get the feeling with this. Some of the maps are like too big for the game modes, and all that stuff's a bit crap. But what can I say? Every time I'm booting it up, I'm having some really good games on it, and finding it really fun. So still cracking on with that. But the other new release that I played this week is Poker Club, and people that follow me on Twitter know that I've been interested in this because I'm a massive fan of poker. And that released last week, and it has not had a great launch. I think it's a very small development studio, so I feel kind of bad for them. But the online service has been really bad. The servers have been down, and other bits and pieces, people crashing out of games. To be fair, they seem to be on top of reimbursing chips lost when the thing breaks or it kicks you out, crashes or whatever. So the angle they're taking for this for the poker game is that they're trying to make it like a more immersive experience, right? So it's all done in a first person. You look down at your cards, you look round at people at the table, you've got emotes that you can do coin chip tricks and stuff like that. And I like that angle. I feel as a poker game, look, I play a lot of poker games against randoms, right? And I've got no interest in talking to them. That's not true, because when I play PokerStars VR, it's all about the community experience. It's all about talking to the guy sitting next to you and, mucking about around the table and stuff like that. But I also play a Peak Poker on iOS, which is very basic. No one talks. You get in, you sit down on your table, do a few hands, and you get that sort of poker experience. Poker Club has potential. Like, it has potential, and I like the idea of trying to make it feel like you're sitting at a table, but on a console, right? The biggest problem at the moment is that it is so slow. It's way too slow. And I might be getting a bit... I might talk some jargon now, so I apologise. But so I was in one... Like, there's simple things that they can cut out to improve that. I was in one hand where it was a 4-way all-in, right? So 4 players went all-in with all the chips. That makes the whole betting process really complicated because there are different stack sizes and you've got to work out side pots and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, one person had the highest hand, and I think it was a full house or whatever. And there's an animation to show that player had won, but that same animation was played 3 times because they showed that player win the 3 different side pots, and it was kind of like, you didn't need to do that. You show it once with all 3 side pots next to his name. That's fine. Like, there's also a real big delay between a hand finishing and the next hand being dealt and stuff like that. And so I streamed a little bit on our Twitch channel just as a tester to see if it would work. And to be fair, while I was just concentrating on the chat stream, I was chatting to the people, the viewers and stuff. That was fine because I would occasionally look up. It was my turn. I'd make my move and then go back to chatting. So I think when we do, and we're planning to do a 4-player tournament, right, on this game on Twitch, I think that'd be great because when you play with your friends, when you play poker with your friends, it's a slow experience because 9 times out of 10, people are just chatting, drinking, getting beers, going to the toilet, stuff like that. It's a slow experience. When you're playing against strangers who you're not necessarily talking to, I mean, I could probably play 6 to 7 hands in a Peak Poker, probably more, in the time that it takes to do 1 hand in Poker Club. And that's, it's just really frustrating because I'm not talking to these people. It makes you do stupid things as well because you're sitting there, you get dealt like a not a great hand. Like, say you got a Jack 7 offsuit, right? You look at those cards and you think, I would fold instantly on that, on every poker game that I played, right? It's not strong enough for me to go in. But because I don't want to wait for the whole hand to go round before I can play again, I tend to just go, oh, fuck it, let's see what the flop's like, And that's not giving the poker experience. I know a peak poker doesn't give you the poker experience because you're not socializing, you're not sitting in front of people, and it is very mechanical, and you're pre-judging your moves before you make them, and it loses that. But at the same time, this loses it in a completely different way. Now, that's not to say it can't be improved. I think over time, if they work on it, if they get the speed right, and if they get the servers sorted, this could have a very bright future. It's certainly the most prominent poker game I've seen on these consoles.
Yeah.
But they need to work on it a lot, I think, to get it to that point. So I'm hoping that they put that effort in to get it to be a snappy, fun experience when playing with randoms. As I say, I think the stream's going to be great because we're going to be chatting amongst ourselves anyway. So fine.
Yeah, that'll work.
So fine. But I think actually doing it against randoms, which is where you'd be spending the most of your time, I don't think it's that great. I also don't quite understand the business model for this game, and this is like, I'm way out of my league here. They've obviously made the decisions that they have for a reason. At Peak Poker and unbelievably PokerStars VR, because PokerStars VR is one of the best, more different poker games, than other than just looking at a top down of a table and playing your hands. They're both free, right? And the way they work is that if you lose all your chips, you can usually just wait for the next day to get more chips. I think it's like an 8-hour in PokerStars VR. There's an 8-hour time delay, and then you get to spin a wheel, and that'll give you some chips to get back into the game. Poker Club is £20, right? And if you run out of chips, what they do is they put you. I've not been in this situation, but what I've heard is that there's cashless tournaments, right? So you're in like the salt mine tournament, if you want to call it that. The problem with that is that obviously people are just going to go all in constantly because who cares?
Because why not?
All in, and then I get my chips at the end of it if I win that. It's like that's what they call bingo in poker, where you don't even look at your cards. You just just put all your chips in. So I don't know how easy it is for them to be able to sell this, and then so there's loads of customizable stuff, right, for your character. But you have to unlock them by leveling up, and then you buy them with chips after that. Oh. And I just kind of think that sort of stuff is so much better when it's microtransactions and stuff like that, which I know James is probably flipping out hearing that, but it's better than having in-game currency that you're limited to on a game that you've purchased. It kind of feels weird. So I think if this was to come to Game Pass or something, it needs to find that audience. It needs to build that community. But I think it would kind of be a shame. It would sort of be a shame if they did that now, because I don't think the game's ready properly for a mass audience. I do think it's going to get there though, and I really do suggest you keep an eye out for our stream, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
So once you run out of chips, you do the other tables and just win some chips.
Until you win some,
yeah, and then you can get into the proper cash games and the cash tournaments. But on that one is like a no buy-in tournament, which is good, because if that didn't exist, you'd be buying a game that you couldn't play because you've run out of chips in it. That seems a bit weird. But I think it's got potential. It's just not there yet, No. And it is early days. This game come out on Friday, but it is out for like the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
And it's all cross-platform.
It's cross-platform play, which means that you apparently they couldn't get in-game voice chat to work because of that.
Oh, right.
Which is another issue, because you can't even chat to the people you're playing with.
Oh, right. It literally doesn't have... Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. You can't chat in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not going to be a problem for us, because we're going to chat on Discord
party,
or in an Xbox party chat or whatever.
Who's the publisher of this again? Sorry.
Ripstone, I think it is.
You're going to write in and complain?
I can't remember if Ripstone are the developers or the publisher.
Okay.
But I think it's Ripstone. I'll, have a go at me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. But I genuinely think it's one to keep an eye on, because I think if they do nail it, if they do nail the speed and the betting options and maybe go to free to play, I think it's got a future. It's just about it getting there, basically. And that's it. That's what I've been playing this week. Sean Bell.
I'll be brief because we've been going on for quite a while. So Destiny 2 update. So I went back and played. One of the things with this new expansion is people have been saying for a while, like they've quite fancied getting into Destiny 2, but the onboarding for new players is a fucking nightmare. And they sort of, when it went free to play, they introduced this new thing, which meant basically it was a new first mission that you did. So rather than following the story of Destiny 2, it did the original, when the story of Destiny 2 when it first came out, there was this new first mission you did, which was modelled on the first mission from Destiny 1. The idea being it was kind of so you've essentially got the same origins as every other player, but then it would do that, and then it would go, bang, right now you're in what is currently happening in Destiny 2. Whereas, because what was happening is people were starting Destiny 2 sort of 1 or 2 years in, and then being like, oh, I've done this first mission of this Red War campaign. What do I do next? And everyone's going, well, bin off the Red War campaign because it's kind of irrelevant now. But it was a mess because it was this one mission, and then it kind of just dropped you in everything else, and it wasn't clear where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, or anything. So they've now reworked that because what they've, I think I mentioned last week in this new expansion, they've re-added Old Russia, which was an area from the first Destiny.
One,
yeah. And so basically now what it does is, it's like a little campaign that you play through. And even if you're a current player, you can just take the campaign from a computer in the tower and you can play it through as if you were a new player. So I did that, and it's really good. It's genuinely pretty excellent. And what it does is really interesting because instead of just doing that first mission in Russia and then going, right, cool, now you've got your ship, off you go to the tower, it doesn't do that. It's you stay in Russia for quite a while. So you'll do this one initial.
So it's putting all of them together and just taking out those middle bits, right?
How do you mean? Sorry, putting what together?
So because traditionally you would go back to the tower, upgrade, then go back to Russia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whereas this is now just you just stay there for a bit. Yeah, so now you don't get your ship for quite a while. So you get to Russia, you do this first mission, and then you meet this other Guardian who's new to the story. And yeah, he's his fire team's gone missing, so then you help him out. So basically it takes you through a series of missions and it introduces you to the flow of it. So it's look, there'll be a story mission and then there'll be some objectives that you just do free roaming or whatever. And then, and there's a strike and there's a bunch of different stuff you do. So it just takes you through all the sort of the different beats that you'll typically go through while you're playing Destiny 2. And I think it's a much better introduction now. And again, it works with the story. It's its own little self-contained campaign, but it feeds into the wider story. Yeah, so really impressed with that.
Cool.
That's been really cool.
And anyone can play that. You don't have to be a first-time player.
Yeah. Even if you've say you tried 6 months ago and you didn't get on with it. So yeah, you could load up Destiny 2 now, and I say there's just this computer in the tower which lets you sort of activate older campaigns you might not have played. So yeah, you could just trigger it from there and then play through it as if you were a new player.
Cool. Because the Destiny 2 campaign, when that first came out, I loved that. I was like, this is the best Halo game I've played in years.
Yeah, it's a shame that the Red War campaign is gone now, because it was fucking excellent.
So you can't play it. You cannot play Destiny 2 as it came out anymore.
Well, think about it, half the planets are gone.
Yeah, well,
they were in that campaign. So, because I wanted to do a stream just to replay, that first mission where it turned out the story was almost seemed quite good. And
yeah, and everything was on fire, looked stunning. And,
yeah. So I was sort of tempted to do that, and then never got around to it. And I'm sort of gutted that I didn't now, because that no longer exists.
It's gone.
Yeah. So that's a shame. The only other thing worth mentioning is the new season has started, and it's done something actually quite cool, story-wise. Which, if you follow this stuff,
did you see the event before the servers changed?
Oh yeah, what was that event in the end?
Oh, that was bollocks.
What was it?
The Traveller healed. So the Traveller that's been floating above the city for ages. And it had all bits like sort of broken off and floating around. It did a big white flash, and then it's all healed now.
Oh dear.
I think there was like a little story mission you could do as well that people said was quite cool, but I didn't stay up to.
Was it better or worse than the one that I did? Yeah, that one that I streamed.
I would say
things
worse.
Coming through the light. Things coming through the air.
It took about 4 hours to unfold.
Yeah.
So that was a bit bobbins really. And to be fair, it was Luke Smith tweeted, didn't he? He said like, look, we weren't even going to announce this. It's been leaked. Please don't get too excited because it's. But yeah, so the new season's started again. Destiny jargon. You've got the expansion, which is like a big campaign and loads of stuff to do with it, doing it. And then throughout the year, they do these seasons that are about 3 months each. Don't ask me why they start the season 1 fucking week after they've just released a new campaign, whatever. Basically a character that we know has returned, and it is quite interesting. I'm not going to spoil it beyond that. I mean, if you follow this stuff, it was quite heavily hinted at for a long time, but it's the way it's done is quite cool. So yeah, still playing that, still enjoying it.
But the season is separate to the season pass.
No, so the season is part of the season pass, but
it's
you don't.
Part of it. Okay.
But you don't get that on Game Pass. You get the expansion on Game Pass, but not the season pass. I mean, it's about £7.
Which makes sense. I mean, they've got to try and make some money.
Yeah, it's about £7 for the season, like for this, the current season, which so far seems worth it. I mean, the raid's out. I've not even bothered looking at it because what's the point? I'll play it in about a year. Is it still 6
people only?
Oh, sorry?
Is it still 6 player only?
Yeah, it is. But then I don't think I've seen one yet. But they now have these dungeons as well, which are sort of light raid things that tend to for 3 players. So they've been doing those for the last sort of year or so. So hopefully there'll be more of them coming. So yeah, cool. Destiny 2, good next gen upgrade, please. Would be nice.
Have you seen many people jump over to and play it on Xbox with it being on Game Pass? Have you noticed? Oh, there's actually loads of people playing now on my friends list, or people
not
loads.
They got I don't have many friends who play it anyway. It's been interesting seeing the clan, the TCGS clan. There's like quite a few names. Because obviously I can see who from the clan is online, and there's quite a at least sort of 3 or 4 of those who are the proper regulars seem to have moved over, which is interesting. So yeah, that's good. I've been playing a load of Burnout Paradise.
It's a good game, isn't it?
On what? On Switch?
On the Series S. I'm not going to pay 40 quid for the Switch version.
One.
Yeah, remastered. Yeah, obviously not a huge amount to say about it other than it's not really aged, has it? It's still really good.
I mean, it hasn't. It hasn't. I think some of the stuff in it hasn't aged particularly well. Some of the whole racing point to point always ended up in the same spot and stuff. I thought it gets tiresome a little bit quickly. But no, I mean...
Go on, sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say how different you got the city and then there's sort of the countryside up in the sort of the north area of the map, and it's cool that there are different environments, but you have so few interesting choices to make once you're out of the city, don't you?
Yeah, the country bit is a few winding roads, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's still incredible. It's still really good fun to play, and as I said, it's like really good for kids.
Isaac absolutely loves it.
It puts you in the middle of the road again, no problem. And the crashes look cool. I miss Burnout.
I do. It's because I was thinking like if I going back to it, because we've said before, because obviously there was years where we were like, why aren't we getting another Burnout Paradise? Like it was so good, and they've not Criterion haven't been allowed to make anything similar since, and then Forza Horizon sort of picked up that baton to an extent, but the crashes are good, aren't they? I do like making the cars crash.
I want a Burnout 2 style Burnout game.
See, I joined at 3 so I never played
I always
the first
preferred
two.
the earlier one.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I mean, Burnout was incredible, don't get me wrong, but Burnout 2 did it for me. That was the one. People rate Revenge and Burnout 3 Takedown, was it called?
Yep.
Takedown, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first one. I played that on the GameCube and thought that was great. So I'm a
I
big
love the
Burnout
first
fan.
couple. I kind of fell out of the loop by thinking Paradise was really, really good, but it never truly got me like...
You didn't have a
like
360 then, though, did you?
Well, no, but I played the first couple, but...
Yeah, no, but I mean, the
remember.
Burnout Paradise on the 360 was like a match made in heaven.
That was
It
so
was
good.
so
That game
good.
Yeah, it was
so good.
Yeah,
I
Everyone
played
was
some
playing
I'm
it
fairly sure I
day
did
one.
play it when it came out on 360. I think I did
You
have
didn't
it by
get 360
then,
till later. That was
but
quite early.
I think... I'm fairly sure I played it when it all came out, but it didn't really grab me.
Nah, there's no way you played it when they come out. You
Well,
would have been. You would have
there is
been
a
on with us.
Well, I did play with you a little bit. I just didn't really do much for it. Didn't do it, surely, but no, it doesn't matter.
That's bizarre. Okay. All right. What else you got, Sean?
The last one is a game called Carto, which is it's on Game Pass. I think it's on Switch, definitely on PC as well. I'm playing on the Series S. It's an indie game where you are basically this girl on like 2D environment. And I mean there's a story which won't get into. Basically the hook of it is you press Y to bring up your map screen, and the map is made up of these square tiles, and you can move them around, and you pick up extra tiles, you can rearrange them. It's kind of like if you've ever played Carcassonne, the board game, which I'm sure you're all big fans.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got all these tiles with, so one might just be grassland, but then on one edge it's got a forest or a bit of, like water or whatever. So you got to match them up. So if, one tile's got water on one edge, then the tile that connects to it also has to have water. So they've got to be continuous. So you're rearranging these tiles, and essentially, so when you rearrange them, and then you go back into the world, and then you're running around on this rearranged map that you've just changed.
That sounds great.
It's a really smart hook, right off the bat, and then the things it does with it are really cool because it's there is a story, which so far has been fine, but the real joy in it is, you every time you go to a new tile of the map that you've just placed, there's usually like another tile to pick up, and then you're sort of like, right, well, how can I fit this in? And that's a puzzle in and of itself, because you might get a new tile and think, all right, hang on, it's got a forest there, lake there, grass there. In order to fit that, I need to rearrange this tile over here, and you sort of, constantly sort of moving stuff around to incorporate more and more of these tiles. And then you'll start meeting characters, and this one guy will say, like, oh, I can't find my house. Like, all I remember is, I lived on, like, some grasslands to the east of this other house. So then you make sure you rearrange it so that you've got a tile with grass on it that's next to this other house. And then bang, his house appears. And then he's like, brilliant, found my house. Or, you might be looking for a character and someone will say, oh, well, she always hangs around in the big forest. So then you look at, you might have these 8 or 9 tiles. Hang on, I've got 4 of these with bits of forest on them. So let's rearrange everything so that all the forest pieces are together to make the biggest possible forest. And then the character appears, and you talk to them, and that progresses the story. And it's all stuff like that. People just saying like, oh, well, it's in this place, or it's near this field, or these bushes, or whatever. And then you having to rearrange things to sort of create that. And it's wonderful. It's just so much fun.
That sounds really satisfying.
Yeah, it's great. And it's just beautifully presented, lovely soundtrack and visuals and everything. It's just, I'll keep it brief because I know I've been recording for a while, but yeah, it's proper good.
I've had it downloaded since it came out on Game Pass. I must have seen some people talk about it.
Weeks,
it looked great.
It?
I haven't been back to it, but it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, really nice. That's it.
Cool
for me.
Nice. Right. Well, let's keep the questions brief because
really sorry everyone if you sent some in. I apologise because I'm going to get to do a couple, aren't we? I mean, let's start with Colin Ross Wilson on Twitter.com, who's actually sent us 4 questions in, which is quite unfair that I'm reading this out, but whatever. It says, hi to my friends at TCGS. Yeah, well, they're all good, and they're all quite short answers, I think.
Okay, cool.
I have a few questions for you all individually. I hope I'm allowed to have more than one question. Borderline. 1. Matt, is there any chance of making this form thing somewhere as a permanent sticky topic or something? I don't know the terminology. I asked because I listened to this show early on a Wednesday at about 7 a.m. By the way, thank you for the early releases. It is appreciated. However, by the time I see this reminder on Twitter, that's almost a week that's gone by. That's a lot to try and remember. If this already exists, then I apologise, but it should be made a lot clearer.
Yeah, so you can go to tcgs.co/TCGS.
Yeah, that's all you need to remember, Colin.
Whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's permanently available. Yeah. But also go to our website and there's a link there in the contact page.
We only put it up for an hour.
So
I think it's a good idea.
tcgs.co/DCGS is up whenever you want.
It'd be like the Horde mode in Splatoon.
Only 2 days a week.
Or
go to the website and look at the contact page and there's a link there to contact us. But always available, never changes. Always there.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until Monday. Right, question 2 says, hello James, hope you well. Last week you explained about how to get rid of drift on the Switch. Would this also work on a PS4 controller? What was it again you used? Also, have you considered making an FAQ? You could go through each episode and find every question you've been asked, then give answers to them all. Also, do I call you James or News Goblin?
I mean, either's fine for that. I don't mind. In terms of it working with the PS4 controller, it doesn't. I recently took apart a DualShock 4 to try and fix because it had the same problem. It had like the drifting on the right stick, and it didn't work. And in the end, I sent it back to Sony, and they sent me a new one. So that was nice. That was nice.
Still in warranty.
Is that because you're the News Goblin, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Can regular people do that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it was
put a hex on as if we don't.
It was within warranty, so there's nothing special about it.
Okay, it's fine.
I was quite pleased they didn't seem to notice that I'd hacked the thing to take the whole thing apart. so that was fine. But yeah, it does.
CEX would have noticed.
Yeah, definitely.
CEX would have done you for that. 60 quid off.
Right, number 3. He says, all right, Sean, when's the next Bell's Kitchen? Could I be so rude and selfish as to ask for an evening stream from you? I miss being able to offer friendly support and guidance to you, whether it be a game I haven't played or a meal I haven't cooked. What?
Has he ever done that?
That's all he ever does. That's his whole thing. Do you know, so I've got the next Bell's Kitchen is queued up and I've got the stuff and I was going to do it Tuesday lunchtime, but just because he's asked nicely, I'll do it one evening this week. Do you want to know what I'm making?
Yes, please.
I'm going to make McDonald's apple pies.
Oh, sounds good.
Which might be rubbish. Imagine if it's just
never got into those. I never saw the buzz of those.
Them, I mean, they're deadly.
All my mates loved them. All my mates loved them, but I never liked them.
Yeah, big fan.
Okay.
Right, number 4. Hello, David. Hope you're well and hope the moving in went well. You commented on a recent stream that I was one of your favourite listeners, and I was very happy to hear that. Does this mean we're pals now?
No.
No, okay. It says, no, I went on a bit, friends, but I feel these questions are all absolutely brilliant, and I won't apologise for that. Appreciate you all. XOX.
I appreciate you all. You're getting close, but no. Okay, next question.
Maria Mendieta, dear TCGS Cold War aficionados.
Good.
Do you reckon? I mean,
I'm not.
When did the Cold War end?
I think you should talk about Black Ops.
Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Someone who yearns for a Bad Company spiritual successor, your discussion about COD was insightful. But it was your coverage.
Just drumming the point home that you missed the reference, Sean.
Look, I hadn't read that far ahead. All right. It was your coverage of Watch Dogs Legion that caught my attention. As Sean mentioned, Clint Hocking directed the game, so I suspect it might turn out to be another Far Cry 2. That game's story is long forgotten, but the propagating fire and malaria systems have had an impact on Breath of the Wild, Metal Gear Solid 5 and Black Ops 4. Which brings me to my question, which game mechanic from this generation do you think will have the greatest impact on future titles? Personally, my vote goes to Watch Dogs Legion's deep recruitment system, which shines brightest with permadeath on. Keep up the intelligent conversations. I do sometimes wonder if she's being sarcastic with those. Nice bits.
It depends what you mean by this generation. What's going to be the inspiration for?
Well, because we probably would have said the Nemesis system, but that never really.
What happened to that?
Truly did much, did it?
Basically, Star Renegades, and that was it. What standout weird mechanics have there been in not necessarily brilliant games either? I can't think of
rewind stuff. That came out this
That's
gen.
been around for ages, though, hasn't it?
Rewinding stuff. So you've got you can rewind the SNES games, you can rewind racing games, and now you can do it in FIFA, which is just weird.
So that is actually spreading, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harry does not understand that that's a bad thing to do in FIFA. He completed Super Mario Brothers 1, and he was all proud of himself. And I wasn't proud of him because all he did was every time he fell down a hole, he just rewound and then did it. You wanted to see that last level. It was literally just every second that was that rewind noise. I was like, oh, God.
Embarrassing. Grow up.
It's really not fun. Other than that, I can't think of any standout mechanics that, Nemesis system seemed pretty cool, but
it's probably too early to say, but so the multiplayer stuff in Ghosts of Tsushima, the fact that it has sort of Destiny-style raid stuff, wonder if that will start spreading a bit.
What, like a really hard mode that you got to play?
Yeah, that you have to play in co-op and you have to really coordinate, and there's sort of it's an action game, but they're essentially sort of puzzles that you're doing,
Yeah. Battle Royale come out this gen, didn't it? Or last gen, whatever you want to call it. But then,
that
that's
feels like
just
it's
everywhere.
on the wane now, a bit.
I don't think it is. We had another Battle Royale style game that took off in a big way this year. So I think it's here to stay. We'll just see it applied in different ways. Look at Fall Guys had that feeling, and it worked really well. I think we're going to see that in various different games, and I think we're going to see some good stuff.
Sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Tetris 99 is another one that was really good fun.
Yep.
I had kind of hoped the Photon system from Metal Gear 5 would have
just being able to steal and recruit people,
because it's just such immense fun to Fulton something into the air. It's probably because of the sounds that came with it. But...
so you're not so much bothered about the recruiting. It's literally just the act of hoisting them up in the air with a balloon.
Yeah, it was just fun. It was like whether it's like gun turret, person, body, box. It's like
whatever.
It's fun.
Yeah.
More Fultoning, please.
Right, last one,
please.
Oh, God. Sorry. Lars Hedderdam says, "Hello, Slay Queens. Back in the early heydays of MMORPGs, I raided 4 to 6 hours every Sunday for about 6 months in order to get a very special and sought-after ring, culminating in finally getting said ring, only to find that it wasn't compatible with my character. Apart from Dave's kid erasing his Mario progression, what is your greatest realisation of loss of progression or the sunken cost fallacy?"
Oh, God.
I'm trying to think. I mean, in terms of losing shitloads of progress. God, it's been a while since that's happened. No, go on, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, I remember, was it about a year ago, Ken and Rince did their episode on Dark Souls 3, and I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm going to install Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 was well good. Why did I stop playing Dark Souls 3? They've added all the DLC and I never really played it. That'd be amazing. Doesn't support Steam cloud saves.
Oh, that's annoying.
So just loaded it up and I was like, oh, right, so that's all gone. That's about 80 hours of play down
that's
the piss.
That's me not doing that again.
Yeah,
we've got this problem coming up, haven't we, Matt?
With bloody FIFA.
Yeah,
I know. This is one of the reasons I've barely played it, because I'm just waiting for the next.
FIFA next gen.
When you get your next gen,
we've worked. Well, pro clubs. We've spoken about it quite a bit, so I won't go too far into it. But not only do you build up like the history of the club that you've joined, but you also build up your character by earning stat points and all that sort of shit. And it takes a long time to build that player up. And when the next gen version comes out, you got to start again. And it's like, what is the point?
It's a club again, the players again.
Yeah, everything's got to start.
We'll always have that history, but
the history,
not the same, is it?
I mean, to be fair, we have deleted 3 clubs now because we just wanted to start from Div 10. But it's that we've got that coming up. So that's super frustrating. But I also had it with Watch Dogs. Like, oh my God, yeah, of course. Fucking Yakuza 0 when I played that. And it was like, I didn't realise that you have to get to a phone box. And you've got to play for a good hour and a half. Like, the first time at least. You've got to play for a good hour and a half before you get to your first phone box to save.
Yeah.
And then when I loaded it up again, I was like, what? What?
It happened to both of us, didn't it? I mean, the good news is, because a lot of that first hour and a half, if you're just skipping through the text, You actually doesn't take too long, but it's
hasn't this been a big problem with what's it called, with Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed though? Because I think I've heard quite a few people have said they've had lost save.
No,
progress.
Assassin's Creed's fine, man. You just manual save. It's fine. I've not had that problem at all. Watch Dogs, I had it a lot. I had to play the opening to that 3 times, and there was a mission that I did where it just didn't save me completing that mission. And I just thought, why is it 2020 and it's not doing that shit? There's no excuse for manual saves like that anymore. I'm sorry, there's none. You can't justify that at all.
Or even the games that are like, when you try and quit and it's like, are you sure you will lose on the save progress? And that gives you no further clue as to when the last save was, or
No, they need to sort that out.
Even if you save and then straight away like, I'm a hound, but I have just saved a second ago, right?
Tell me you might lose. What happened in those 2 seconds? You're going to lose that. That's
I think.
Please tell me when my last save was.
I think all games should employ the Nomad Soul save system. That was.
It's a classic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like limited amount of save.
The rings.
Magic rings. Yeah.
Find the rings.
Okay, are we done? Are we done for this week?
We're done. That's enough.
Matt, socials.
Yeah, so this Friday, James is continuing Alien Isolation. Did a stream on Friday. Hasn't seen the Alien yet, but that is coming, I assume, this Friday at 9. This Sunday at 8, I'm playing Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm very excited to see what that game's about. They're both on twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you miss them live, you can watch them on our YouTube channel. Just search for TCGS on YouTube. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming with that, 1 free sub every single month. Please go over to our channel. We really appreciate your free monthly subs. We're on Patreon, of course, patreon.com/TCGS to get exclusive podcasts and talks over. Our website is tcgs.co, and this Friday, it's Black Friday, and there's a 1 day only 25% off everything offer at the store this Friday. So
is there any profit left
TCGS
after that?
merch?
Do we get anything?
25% cheaper. I'm going to buy probably a 3rd hoodie.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get something this year, but make sure you get your TCGS gear in time for Christmas. Even though
get for the whole family, like brilliant for loved ones, brilliant for
the hoodies are really nice. It's worth pointing out. I wear a lot of hoodies. They're especially nice. Yeah.
I bought one of those for Chem for a birthday. Never wore it. She never wears it.
Just take it to EGX and throw it out into the crowd.
Yeah, but did it have thousands of pictures of her face all over it?
Well, I also bought her one of those polo ones, and she refused to wear that because she said she felt like an employee. She didn't like it.
She is.
We will catch you next week on another thrilling episode of the Computer Game Show. Thanks for living it. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Can next week not be 3 hours?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.